speaking of Derek, I can't think of anything more alpha than joining the Russians.
I would have so much. I'd be like, that's pretty respectful.
That's alpha AF. Am I right, Derek?
Press start.
All right, well, let's start this episode. Listen, we were just talking before we started recording about all the stuff happening in the world news and internationally on this huge stage and all this important, horrible stuff. We don't want to talk about that because there's two main reasons. One, we don't really know what we're talking about. We have opinions. We've seen different news headlines. We've been told to believe certain things. We don't really know, right? I'm speaking on behalf of all four of us that are here. Anybody know? Anybody know everything?
I mean,
about
we're not there.
I
right?
know so little. I don't even want to retort to this question.
There you go. So we know too little about it. And secondly, this podcast is just for fun. We're trying to escape and talk about really, really, really pretend stuff, so we cannot think about real world stuff.
Most pretend stuff.
I can't wait for the video game of this, of this situation. Then we can talk about it.
So Call of Duty, the next Call of Duty,
yeah. The next, or the Fallujah game that's coming out.
Maybe that's why they delayed it. We talked about how they delayed it. Maybe that's because they're like, we better delay this thing.
Oh, sure.
Oh, shit.
Hang on one second. I got some cough.
Uh-oh. Tim's unleashing the demons.
I do not have the COVID. I am.
Liar.
I do not. Be quiet.
I can't afford it.
I cannot afford that right now. We've got a lot of games to talk about. Some games we already have covered the last few weeks that we want to get some updated impressions on. I know we've been playing a lot of Horizon, a lot of Elden Ring, and then a lot of other games in between and around those games. So we'll talk about those. We got the big release of The Batman, which is a much anticipated next big comic book superhero movie, and excited to hear about that one. I think two of you guys have seen it. It's anticipated, isn't it?
Wait, is that Aquaman or Batman? He's so wet.
My theater would say otherwise, but
don't you dare.
Well, he's wet. I'm trying to make the. Never mind. God damn it, Jeff.
And then
it was just a bad joke.
And then we're going to find out, guys, how much we know about gaming. We're going to take a gaming quiz together. I have not taken this ahead of time. I have not looked at the questions. We will look at this together. And the four of us, Derek, RIP, we will see how much we know about games. Guys, Derek's not dead. Derek's not dead. I'm sorry for saying that.
He's literally resting in peace, meaning he's just resting. It's,
Yeah.
You say that when
He's resting. He's resting in the bosom of his girlfriend, probably.
Hopefully.
Or
good on you. Good on you, buddy.
Yeah. Or Sasan.
And then we'll get into some headlines after that. But anyway, I didn't even say it's Tim, Dan, Jeff, and Kyle are here. Your regular four.
Halfway there.
Half of us are here somehow. Which I like. But let's jump into stuff that we're playing. I want to start things off with the two big games we talked about the last couple of weeks. Any updated impressions you have of those? So let's kick things off with Horizon, because that game's been out for, now we're looking at over 2 weeks now. That game's been out. I know a lot of folks have stopped to play Elden Ring. That's the case for many. Other folks are sticking to it, and this is their main game. Some have finished it and moved on because they have way more time than most of us do. But who is still playing Horizon? Any updated thoughts outside of what we already shared the last couple of episodes?
Yeah, I'm still playing the crap out of that game. Haven't really touched Elden Ring since it came out. I'm gonna be honest with you. Horizon is just, it's just my type of game, bro.
Dude, I hit this part in Horizon that I thought the visuals had already been like, cool, this game looks beautiful and it's gonna look beautiful. But I keep hitting these little moments where I'm like, how is this so pretty?
Were you in the snow area?
Yeah. Yes. I just got to the Sky Clan area.
Yeah.
In the snowy mountains, and I'm just like, holy crap. And there's moments where it's blizzardy and all that stuff, and that's not necessarily visually impressive. But then when you get to the top of some peak and the storm clears, and all of a sudden you have this amazing view. There's a side quest where you climb up and you see this view and you can float down.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, this is stunning. This looks.
There's another one. There's another mission that's kind of close to that area where it's like you have to go to a watchtower.
I did that one too. Yeah.
Yeah, and then like there's one part of it where like you go to another watchtower and then you realize there's a watchtower across the way that's under attack. So you just glide to it and it's just like, it's just so cool, man.
And you can see them attacking below.
Yeah.
Love it.
God, that's so rad. Yeah, that mission though with the Sky Clan. That was so dumb. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. It was so stupid.
Our first dumb lore drop or whatever. What was dumb
You're
about
talking
it?
about the story mission part?
Yeah, it was a
Yes,
main
it
story
was.
mission where they're like,
Is it a
where
side
they're
quest
like,
or
No, it's the main
no,
story
it's a main
mission.
thing where
So,
the goal
without-
is like
Without
you have
spoiling,
to,
you're trying to convince their leader to do something,
yeah.
Okay.
and he's stubborn and won't do it. And so
Yeah.
then
Sure.
your like last resort to convince him. I'm with you, Jeff. I was like, this.
you have to do something drastic to get them on your side, but then after you do that thing, it's like nobody's mad at you. It's
Yeah,
just like
the whole
oh,
town's like, hey,
I wish
they,
you didn't do
they
that.
even
Well,
give you a nickname associated with it. It's so
Hey, Dying Light. The entirety of Dying Light is this. Just FYI.
Oh,
Sorry,
really?
Derek. I know you're not here to defend
where
it.
you do
but,
something terrible. And
Yeah,
nobody
like you'll
cares.
screw over an entire faction, like steal all of their water. Let's just as an example. And then when you go in there, they're like, "Got a mission for you, bud." And I'm like,
Yeah.
It's like,
I doomed all of you. Like
It's
you're
like,
all
aren't you
doomed.
thirsty?
You want to drink first?
Yeah.
Are you
And,
thirsty?
and maybe one person will be like, "We're kind of upset about that decision you made, but we kind of need help with this watchtower." You know, it's
Jeff,
like,
do you think it helps at all that it's surrounded with characters that are pretty interesting and well designed and well
Yeah,
voice acted? That helps, right?
That definitely helps, especially because this guy is he's not fully a traitor like that other Tanakh person is. He's just kind of like in a disagreement, basically. He's at a stalemate with the chief.
He's a wuss. He's hiding. So
Yeah, he's pretty much just hiding and going, nah, I'm gonna stay here. Mountain's safe. I'm good. I
like the marshal guy.
Yes.
Who's missing a limb there.
An arm,
He's a cool character. Like I'm digging the
great.
character.
And I'm so happy what happens with him after too. Like I'm just like, oh, thank you.
Yeah.
There is a mission right after that. It's just a dumb little mission, but once you get past it, you're like, oh yeah, I forgot about that dumb mission. Like I did. Because when you do get past it, it's the Kurut ceremony.
Yeah.
Kurut.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. But it's like this tradition that the tribe has where they just fight machines in an arena, and they try to build new soldiers basically to get more marshals. And your job is to protect them because they expect to be attacked. They expect to be ambushed. And that entire sequence is like so much fun, dude. You just sit there with a heavy weapon and just freaking decimate machines. It's so fun.
Yeah.
So I did love that part. Like it's like everything after the fact, I kind of like forgot about how dumb that mission was for a second. The one before it.
You know what? It's not that it. If you're listening, or Kyle or Dan, I don't know if you've gotten to this part or not.
I haven't. No, I'm close. I've seen snow, so I must be
Okay.
close.
Yeah. I mean, it's not that it's like the dumbest story thing in a video game ever. It's more like it feels out of character for Aloy to say this is the way to do this, and then for the character that she's with to kind of give her the nod. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah, she has to kind of convince him, and she says you're no better. Like when she's trying to convince him, she's like, you're no better than that arrogant prick or whatever. And I'm like, where is this coming from? Like it just felt out of left field. And then the choices she makes, and how there's pretty much no ramifications. You can go right up to the mountain and go to your stash, your beloved stash. You can go, go upgrade your stuff.
They updated the game to take out the.
She has not said it once.
Yeah,
she still says, "Well, gotta pick that up." She still says stupid crap like that, but she doesn't. She doesn't say
You know what she started saying now in the snow area is, "Snow's on my eyelashes," or something. There's some kind of line about snowflakes on her eyelashes.
She gets wet and like she's in the water, guys. She's swimming.
Yes.
Swimming. Okay, let's not be inappropriate. When she's swimming and she gets out of the water, she's like, "Well, I guess gotta run this off." And I'm like, "You don't have to say."
Yeah,
things.
I'll shake this off, or I'll just.
That was refreshing, I guess, or something like that. Like really?
Listen, I don't mind all that stuff, but the problem is usually when games have a lot of dialogue like that, you've got a character you're talking to.
Sure.
And so it's a little back and forth, like the Uncharted series. They talk nonstop. The Guardians game, it's nonstop chatter with the Guardians character.
7 remake.
This just feels like she's lonely. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's what it is, because she pushes people away, right? So that's kind of.
See, but as a person who experiences a lot of sensory overload sometimes, like I just genuinely like block out like people talking sometimes. So like, I don't know if I've ever even noticed her talking while she's picking up stuff. The only reason I
one
know
of those things that you'll be like, damn it, now I can't unknow.
Well, that's the thing. I heard multiple reviews say this too. So it's not like a you guys thing. This is like they edited it out too, or updated it out. So like enough people are saying something about it.
Dude,
but, like, I've never noticed. Until,
I annoy my wife with that. If we're listening to someone talk, whether it's like a sermon or a speech or anything, or just even just someone speaking at all, if I pick up on some little tick or noise, I'm like, hey, you hear him smacking his lips between every word? Like he's doing like one of those things like, like one of those types of noises.
Yeah.
Then she can't not hear it, and she's so mad at me the rest of the time. She's like,
"Oh man,
why did you point that out to me?" And I'm like,
I like pointing out to
people.
people.
She's like,
that's why the How I Met Your Mother episode where it's like the glass shatters.
The glass
oh
shatters.
yeah, that's
best
exactly
episode.
what I was. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't want to be alone in this. Okay, that's why. That's why I told you.
I want you to suffer with me.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Anyway,
Mystery
I'm
loves
still
company.
loving the game. I don't want to stop. Like, I know there's other games I've downloaded that I can play that came out like this week, or a demo came out or something.
I love
but
it too.
This one's just on my mind the most, and I can't wait to replay it. When I stop playing it, I already can't wait to go.
Can I say though, I have had a whole bunch of jankiness, especially with climbing, like a whole bunch. I don't know if you guys get it. Like a lot of.
I think the climbing
a little dirty,
is
but
dumb.
it's not
Yeah,
bad.
and I think someone in a review said, like, I think it was Damon Hatfield on GameScoop, actually. It wasn't even a review. He goes, wouldn't it just be easier that if Aloy could just climb everything? Like, why are there like direct paths on
Assassin's
everything?
Creed went to that, you know.
Yeah,
for the
so
most
it's like,
part.
why can't you just like free fall or Breath of the Wild, you know, like
Breath of
free
the Wild
form,
it.
like like, you know, fly off that or whatever. And like, I totally agree with that. Like,
It was a step in the right direction, but still not quite what it needs.
I
to
think
be.
adding the verticality is a great idea. I feel like a lot of times I'm like, why are you going down? You know, like I'm trying to climb up right now. Like I don't know why you're.
Yeah,
it's a little janky.
It's like sometimes it's too sensitive, and then sometimes you're like, you're not doing anything. Well, why is this happening?
Another
it doesn't
example.
even. It's either sticky or not sticky. Like it doesn't even choose a lane. You know?
One of the missions that we were talking about, Jeff, where you have to go up the mountain. There's a part where you push a tree over, and you have to jump off the tree onto the cliff. And I had to try 4 times because she wouldn't jump the right distance. And I guess the game was wanting me to angle it perfectly from the tree. And I'm just like, because it's one of those things where, you know how when you do a jump with her, she actually doesn't jump that far. If you're just jumping, if you're just standing on flat ground and hit jump, she doesn't like move forward super far. And so when you're on a tree trunk, you got no space to get a running start. You just kind of have to jump and hold that direction. It took me 4 or it might have been 5 tries to get the right angle for her to like, for the game to register for her to reach out and grab the ledge. It was so annoying. Like it's jankiness like that. And I have to crawl back down and around and then back up to that spot and try again. It's stuff like that I'm like, man, it's nowhere near enough for me to be like, uninstall, I hate this game. It's just
that's why we as a podcast gave it a 7 out of 10. So
7 out of 10.
7 out of 10.
Yes.
I think we've committed to 7 for all games this year. Didn't we promise that together? 7.
Yeah, we did. Everything gets a 7.
Except for the games.
God of War when it comes out at the end of the year, 7. It's a 7.
Except for the games that actually are swimming in 7s. Those are less than 7.
Yeah, those are.
Or they're more.
6.5.
Or they're more. Yes.
We flip it. We go swimming in 7s. They're actually perfect games now.
This sounds like some
try-hard.
This sounds like some Jared bullshit.
Alex 2 guys, 10 out of 10.
Alex 2. That's right. Oh my gosh. So anyway, I overall still just such a beautiful, awesome, fun game, despite little moments here and there where I'm like, all right. It's I think Kyle, you've talked about this a lot. You're gonna forgive certain things with certain game genres with a gigantic, gorgeous, complicated open world.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let things like the climbing imperfections go, even though there might be times when, and I'm sitting there playing going like, oh my gosh, why is this doing this? And I might get frustrated for that moment, but then it's gone because then I have this amazing view and this
and then you start thinking
battle.
deeper. Oh, I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
And that's it. I was just gonna say it quickly gets overshadowed by all the other great stuff. That's all.
I agree.
And I was gonna say and if you go the extra step and go, oh, this is Guerrilla Games. They literally have never done anything platforming in their entire career. So this is a first-person shooter, developer. So climbing things is not really like in their coding apertoire, So it's like, man, I don't know. Maybe that has something to do with it too. Yeah. I do, like Dan was saying, I think it's a still, regardless how janky it is, it's a very good step and evolution of the world,
compared to the first one.
Think how clean when we get Horizon 3.0 Dawn or whatever the next one's gonna be.
3.0 Dawn.
It's gonna have really good climbing, like it will. Like everything's gonna be it's gonna feel way better than the next game. So
hope it takes place in space.
We're going to space, guys.
Nice. Yeah. All right. What about Elden Ring? I mean, I've played more since last we chatted. But not a ton more. I think my total count on Steam is telling me just under 11 hours of total play time, which has been enough to get me up to level 27, 28 maybe. I beat the first boss. I've encountered a few world bosses. Haven't tried to take them on yet. I feel like I need to get to a point where I just get someone to run, like a Derek, a Kyle, someone to finish the game. So whenever you're done with it, then run me through some stuff. That's kind of what I feel like I need.
I need a runner, so the fact that you think I could be a runner is hilarious to me.
Dude, you're like level 50 something. You could.
I'm actually doing better in this game than any Souls game ever, and I kind of feel like an unstoppable force right now.
Yeah, you should.
Like as a human being, not in the game. I keep on dying in the game, but like in my normal life, I feel like I'm a pro gamer fighting you guys.
You're walking down the street with a new swagger, are you?
I'm actually gonna start telling everyone to get good. You know, I'm gonna start gatekeeping really hard.
You're Tobey Maguire in Spider-Man 2.
I'm gonna start gatekeeping super hard. You know,
that was Kyle's whole team meeting this week at work. Was just, all right, fellas, get good.
Yeah, everyone needs to get good this week. Yeah.
Those spreadsheets. I'm gonna need you to not suck at those.
I need you to press the get better button. I think there's another one they use a lot. Anyways, I put a lot of time in this game, and I don't know if I'm actually being truthful with myself how much I like it. Like I don't know if I'm like almost not allowing myself to love it as much as I think I'm loving it, and I don't know why. Because I think any moment like I could just be like, yeah, I'm done with this game. Because the grind is real.
Is it the fan base we talked about last time, or is it the game
itself?
itself?
No, nothing like that. I have a really cool group of people I'm playing with right now. I got a few friends who are jumping in and out of games, who are rushing me through things, who I'm helping. Like, I actually found this thing over here. Like, what are you talking about? I'm like, yeah, it's a tunnel that goes to an island, guys. Let's go over there.
Well, I think that's what it is, Kyle. You're like in a groove, right?
Yeah.
And have you found any like unique weapons? Like there's that one I sent the video where you. Well, yes, like that's part of it too.
Video, yeah. But I'm finding more. I don't know, like just like rune factories more than I am, like special weapons and stuff like that. But I don't know. This is just one of those games where it's like, the night will end. I maybe reach out to some friends in the morning and go. So I went west yesterday, guys, and like I found this like small little like grotto, and like there's a boss in there, and like that boss drops a lot of runes, and if we like catch him 3 times in 3 different games, like we could level up really quick, and like and then we just keep on growing. Dude, well, I went east and I saw this like little shack over here, and there was a boss in there, and like. So then we'll just keep on hopping each other's games and like farming these bosses, and like it's a great time. I'm having a really good time playing this game co-op, which like I know maybe you're some of your purists of these Souls games, like they're like, you're playing the whole game co-op. Yeah, all of it. Like literally, I have not.
I won't play without somebody. How about
like,
that?
I almost won't play the game if I don't have friends on.
If you're having more fun that way, then why not?
Yeah,
it's my game. I'm gonna do whatever I want to.
It's my game. I do whatever.
Everyone can get bent.
Yeah, dude. There's people on like I've been stumble across Elden Ring footage on TikTok sometimes, and if it's somebody doing magic, the comments are all like, "Oh, that's what you dying is what you deserve."
Oh, you're playing easy mode.
Yeah.
Like they wouldn't put it in the game if they didn't want you to do it. Like you know what I mean? Like just. Let people play it how they want to play it.
Well, people are stupid because they don't realize that, like, usually those builds, or at least at first anyways, like, your health is, like, what you're wearing and what your actual HP is like, pretty weak.
Yeah.
So, like, you'll have strong magic, and then over time, obviously, you're going to get more health and stuff. But, like, the focus is MP and then, like, intelligence or faith or whatever it is.
What's the level cap on this game?
I don't know. I know it's over 100.
I don't know.
Like some of the, I assume it is because all the other Souls games are. So
it better be, because I feel like when you get to, if I were to dive back in, for example, over the weekend, I'd probably hit level 30 pretty quickly. And I'm like, man, I'm only 1 boss in, and I'm level 30, and I didn't.
I'll go get you 75k runes.
I didn't feel overpowered when I fought that boss. I didn't feel overpowered at level 27.
Tim, I can tell you about a trick.
I can get you to level 50 in an hour if you want me to.
No, I'm good.
I'm like level 70 something right now, so.
Yeah, Dan, you need to show me some of your secrets, man. I'll show you some of mine.
I'll tell you about a Indiana Jones ball rolling down a hill trick.
I need it. Yeah. I need it in my life.
I'll tell you guys all about that.
Yeah, I mean, something that you can't say now on the podcast. I'm curious.
It's a glitch. It's a glitch.
I know people get really weird about these games. Like, don't describe a boss. Like, I'll freak out if you tell me.
I'll tell you one world boss I stayed away from because
spoilers.
I was exploring and I ran across this guy pushing a boat around this like flooded city, and it was called the Mariner, and I was like, hard pass. Yeah. Look at that guy. I'm out of here. I'm out of here.
Super easy. You should have killed him.
He's not easy. Shut up.
He's so easy.
If by myself, single player.
If it's the one that I'm thinking
I was with 2 people, so
The Mariner, there was like this guy that before I got there who warned me about this Mariner, and I saw him
Did he summon like a skeleton thing?
Oh, I got out of there before I saw what he did. It was the same thing with
if
the
it was
dragon.
that one, I beat it.
I was just exploring and I was riding my horse. By the way, I love horseback combat. I'm just like swinging at weak things as I run by. That's super fun. So I'm just swinging at things, and I saw this little group of those zombie men that are super like one-hit kills.
Yeah.
I go over. That's on that like mostly drained lake. They're on a little island. I'm like, I'm gonna go get these guys. And as I get close, this gigantic dragon swoops in, kills all of them, lands there and screams at me. And I was like, I'm going to play Horizon because I'm terrified right now because this is too much. It's too much.
Because there's just no way to gauge until you like maybe kind of do a little back and forth, and you're like, all right, am I even able to like fight this thing? And then like if they kill you in 2 hits, you're like, well, nope.
The way I always judge it is, all right, do I have less than 1,000 for me right now at this point? Less than 1,000 runes. All right, I'll risk it because if I do lose those, it's not the end of the world. I'm sure as you get up higher, maybe it's like less than 5,000 or whatever.
It takes me like 1580k right now to 1,580k to like level. Or I'm sorry, 15,800k. Excuse me.
Yeah.
So yeah, like if
I'm just saying, like I look at my rune count and I'm like, all right, is this worth the encounter just to see how tough he is, to see if I could maybe do it in a few tries? But if I've got a whole bunch stacked up, dude, I just jet out of it.
It increases. I blinked and I felt like I went from like, oh, I'm leveling up every 4,000, and like I blinked and I was like, oh, every 12,000, oh, every 15. Like it happens so quickly as you're leveling up. Oh, and I guess I'm doing a lot of like rune farming too, so I'm leveling up a lot quicker. Maybe some other people are. So
I've been doing some weapon farming. Kyle's farming runes. I'm farming weapons.
Tell me about this. I need some better weapons.
So I got the if I'm saying it correctly, the sword that Derek had showed us, the Sephiroth sword, the Nagakiba, I think it's called.
Okay.
And it's basically like it's spear length, but it's a katana. So it's got the speed of a katana, but it's very long.
Does it still do the sheathing attack? As a katana does, or
no, it does basically like he holds it up and then kind of does like a dash move. It's still pretty nice. But no, it doesn't do the sheath.
Yeah.
Most weapons, are they just like things that are you just have to go loot them from a certain spot in the world? How do you?
It depends. Some of them are attached to quests. Some of them, like that one that I shared that video with you guys, which basically, so if you hold L2 and you do a normal attack, it does like this almost like this magical meteor sort of like beam attack, and then if you do L2, the strong attack, then it does like this like fire like swooping thing. That was just in a chest. In like this castle, you do have to like run through and pass enemies and dodge some stuff. Like you can't just like walk casually into the castle. You do have to kind of like horseback and like dodge things.
I've seen the gameplay of the castle. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
not the first castle. It's like like kind of like a mini castle. Yeah, it's like exactly.
We got to give a shout out to those who leave the best messages in these games. This isn't new to this game, of course. All the FromSoft games you can leave messages, and they've always been fun and funny. Like Bloodborne had some great ones. Dark Souls, of course, had some great ones, but this one, like, there's some that are stupid and they're just repetitive, and I get it. But there's some that just make me laugh so hard. Like when I'm in the castle area. There's parts you kind of go in and out of the castle wall, and you're on the outside going up some ladders and then back inside. And there's these gigantic damaged holes in the wall, and they have these vines growing in them, and they're really dark and weird looking. Yep. And almost every time people figure out a way to describe it to you as butthole. With the message.
2 fingers, butthole.
So
it's actually George R.R. Martin leaving all those. It's
probably.
So it's
but it's not just that. It's all kinds of stuff, man. Like the timing of certain messages, you read it and you look up and see what they are talking about. And there's been more than one time that I've chuckled, like, man, that's pretty creative. Whoever thought of putting that one there. So I do love the message system.
Yeah, I've actually probably racked in a few more hours of that just because. Again, I kind of got in like a groove and was getting addicted to finding some of these unique weapons. I want a more unique armor set. And I was trying.
I'm still rocking the same armor, so if you got a lead on that stuff, let me know too.
Well, I was trying to do the Raging Wolf armor, which is what you saw in those initial trailers, like that armor.
Yeah.
But like it's like a whole process, and you have to actually go through like there's a city in the middle of like the whole map that's actually I think it's the city that's surrounding the big Erd tree. And you can't actually get there until you beat a couple of like the main bosses, I believe. But I fought like this dude on horseback that was right in front of one of the gates before you can go into the city, and I just like dude, literally like 30 times like trying to fight this guy. Wow. I did eventually beat him, but then I'm blocked from entering the city. There's like basically one of those magical walls that's stopping me. and I can't progress further. So I can't even get to like this certain point where I have to fight this certain person for this quest line to get that Raging Wolf armor.
Yeah.
But I did find this other armor set, so Kyle, I'll let you know about that. So.
Please, yeah.
I think it's
I'm still rocking my regular armor, and I just feel I feel squishy.
You know, when the game loads, it shows that guy wearing like the wolf like helmet.
Sure.
So like that dude and the armor that he's wearing, you can get that, I think, kind of fairly easy. It's not like locked behind any sort of like getting to a certain point and having to do anything weird.
What are you? What's your build?
The samurai.
Oh, so we're both doing dex builds. Yeah, so I'm just gonna whatever you're doing because you're a better gamer than me. I'm just gonna copy you. So pave the way, Dan, and then carry me.
I will
there.
let you know. I will let you know.
I'm still doing all strength vagabond, which is going pretty well.
That's a good roll. Yeah.
I can single hand some of these two-handed weapons that I'm running across, but
that long katana, Kyle, is not hard to get. So if you're doing samurai, I would definitely highly advise you.
Do I need extra strength because it's so big, or is it considered a dex weapon?
That's what she said. I don't remember off the top of my head.
I actually don't even care anymore. So
I don't remember off the top of my head. I'll let you know.
But, let me know because I'm trying to really stick to my like role. I feel like it's making the game easier. Me just like really honing in on like what my character is good at. Whereas other Souls games, I'm just like, hey, let's put points in luck. I don't care, you know.
What a shock that Dan likes the sword that looks like Sephiroth's sword. What a shock.
Kind of on brand. Yeah. On brand, you know.
I just need to find a Buster sword, and then I'm gonna bust all over the game. Is what I
believe it. All right, let's talk about a few other games.
That's disgusting.
Wow, that's
a few other games and/or demos that have come out. The first one I hear about is, I think, probably one of the more high-profile releases, even if it's not our specific podcast host's favorite, and that's Gran Turismo 7. That's not to say it's not our no one enjoys it. That's just it's not one of those ones that we're all super hyped for and we're all going to play. But I do know that it's a huge. I mean, it's been a much anticipated release for those who do like racing games. Any of you playing this, and what do you think so far about Gran Turismo 7?
Am I the only one playing it right now?
Probably.
I mean, I haven't cared about a Gran Turismo since 2, and I wasn't even that good at 2. So.
I'll
take it away.
I'm super loving it. It's super cool. You know, I have always loved these games. Not a car guy, not a car culture guy. You know, so it's like that stuff like totally lost on me. This game is it's like a huge celebration of car culture, and like suddenly I really care about cars. Like while I'm playing this game.
Oh, now you're family. Do anything.
Like I'm family. Yeah, exactly. I'm 3.5, maybe 4 hours in, like to my career, like in Gran Turismo, and like. There's this new mode called the cafe mode, which I think is like it's the thing that guides like how you're progressing your story. But it's really cool because whatever like car you drive up to the cafe, the people you talk to there, which one of my big gripes with this game is like everything is like text based. Like you guys make more money than most games. Like hire a voice actor, you weirdos. Like so crazy to me. Because like when Forza did something like this with the Top Gear guys, like the Top Gear guys were there voice acting. Like it was like just to kind of give motorsport like a big ups on that, you know. Gran Turismo, you could have afforded this, whatever. Cool thing is though, is like if I drive a particular car up there, there's going to be someone there at the cafe to talk to me about how the history of that car that I just bought. Or drove up or whatever. And so every car you drive up, like they tell you kind of like the history and kind of like how it's accepted into the car culture of racing and stuff like that. Super interesting. If you go into the showcase room to like buy a car or whatever, you can actually read an entire timeline of history of like the Nissan business or the Honda business or Ford business or whatever. And it's on a timeline. You're reading like, you know, almost like a PowerPoint presentation, you know. That's all just totally optional stuff if you want to do it. It's all in there, and like I'm not a big fan of all of like car culture stuff. I stop to do it every single time. I don't know why. Like I'm super fascinated by it. So I'm kicking like AI's asses like with a particular car. I'm like, oh, well, this car was built in yada 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 by whomever, and I know all this for a hot second before I forget it because my brain sucks. But like it's really cool that stuff is in there, and like the game feels like it's just celebrating like cars are cool, right? You know, which they are. You know, you're just not. You know, I'm not gonna buy a Honda Civic and race it tomorrow. So
my memory of these games is that they're very sim, like
they're
very heavy on the
sim. I mean, to the point where you have to change your oil or you'll burn your engine out. You know, like you might get too much miles on your engine, it will blow out and stuff like that at some point. Like you have to wash your car. You're gonna show up to the race in a dirty car. Like if you bore your engine and drill holes in it, you can't undo that. You have to just buy a new engine. It's like it is as sim can get. I don't really dive into a lot of the tuning and stuff like that. Like I'm as casual as you can get with these types of games.
Yeah.
But I really enjoy like how much depth there is to everything, and everything just kind of feels like it just feels good. And I don't know. I think the progression in this game, I didn't like the last two Gran Turismos personally. I think that the careers were like all over the place, and like the amount of menus you had to dive into just to start a race was like it was practically like insanity, like it was just like 28 menus later, like, now I'm racing. Oh, but now I have to hit start and then choose my car and then hit start again, and now we're racing. So it's really 23 levels. It's crazy. It's really snappy. The UI is really nice and everything like that. I still think Motorsport is packaged up a little nicer in terms of like just getting you into a race and just being really streamlined. But like I also think that's the difference between like a Japanese developer and an American developer. The Japanese developer wants they don't mind how complicated some things seem like in the UI sometimes, whereas American developers like, we just got to make this as stupid as possible. Or
it's almost like they're trying to make sure that you see all the options and that you get to edit everything, configure everything.
I there's just different philosophies there, which I don't think that there's one wrong and one's right. I just think one's cleaner and one's not as clean, or
America's
more
USA.
Yeah, one's more user friendly and one's a little more like you got to kind of learn it a little bit. And so there's some like training wheels that you kind of have to keep on for a little bit. But the game does a really good job of guiding you through the opening hours of the game. So
with the customization, is there like presets like that you can kind of wrap your head around as like a newbie? Or
they're always I mean, like if you just want to buy a new muffler but you don't want to tune how much like exhaust is coming out of it or whatever, I don't even know if that's the right phrase.
I don't know.
I don't even know if that's the right words, but like you know what I mean. If you want to buy like an intake but like it's not sucking in as much oxygen, they do that. I don't know.
I just want to see like a list of numbers and then show me the part I'm looking at, and then have them be red with the arrow down if they're worse.
Yes, all that's there.
Like an RPG.
But if you want to buy a muffler and then go in and then choose to like, you can do that, but you don't have to. And I don't do any of that stuff. I've never done any of that stuff.
I love that, of course, about Forza Horizon 5, where, and not just 5, I think the other ones did this too, where you can buy a tuning, or you can download a tuning setup of somebody else's. You have to buy it. And then it just kind of like, here's the stats that I'm generally going for, and then you got presets out the wazoo to choose from, and I
let other smarter people do the work.
Yes.
I don't know if this game has anything like that. I think you can download like graphics and maybe tune setups from other people. I haven't really dove into that stuff yet. But the game like really parses out like its map too. It's like you're choosing icons off a map to do whatever you're gonna do, and like the game does a really good job being like, this is what this is. And there's only 3 items on the map at first, and then so this is what this is now, and then by the time it's all done, there's like 10 things on the map that you can kind of interact with.
What kind of weapons do they give you on that car?
Have you heard of Sweet Tooth from Twisted Metal?
I have, yes.
It's kind of like that. The whole game's kind of like that.
Sweet. That's all I needed to hear.
I'm really enjoying it, but like I gotta be honest, I think like if you're in racing for like the fun, like Horizon is more fun. Like all day, it's more fun. Yes. It's always going to be more fun.
It's more arcadey.
It's more arcadey, and stuff like that. They have a lot of things in Gran Turismo that makes it easy, So if you're a beginner and you want to throw on like brake assist or even steer assist, like the game will kind of like do it, and it still feels like you're playing the game, So like you can have those kind of extra things that are kind of helping you to make it feel a little more like approachable, but like. This game's a hardcore sim, and that there's no other way around it. Like any game you have to change your oil in, or else your engine will blow halfway through a race. Like that's insane. Like that's a simulator, Like
that's absurd.
So yeah, I'm liking it, but like I don't know at this point if Gran Turismo is getting any new fans. Like I think the same people who buy Gran Turismo are going to buy it.
Weird timing for this game, you know what I mean?
Whereas, absolutely. Whereas Horizon 5, I think got a lot of new fans. You know what I mean? So like, if you're trying to compare the two, I think Horizon's doing the better job of making a dent like in the racing community right now. Whereas
Gran Turismo is just it's a household name though. I mean that series sells.
It's getting 9s and 10s right now, guys. I mean, like it's reviewing really well. People are calling it the best Gran Turismo since the PS2 days, which I agree with. I didn't like the whole PS3 era of this or the PS4 Gran Turismo. I think Sports was like the worst version of that entire series. So like I'm really enjoying Gran Turismo again.
Nice.
But yeah,
I remember seeing that Clint Eastwood movie Gran Torino, thinking that it was a video game adaptation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Boy, was I wrong.
Yeah,
So
no,
that was not the case?
You know what? No racing in that movie. A lot of race though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of race going on.
I was gonna say, Gran
Not
Turismo,
the
not
car.
as racist.
Although there is a car involved there too. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
there
a
is a
thing.
car. It's a loose connection.
Yeah, it's a very loose adaptation. Another big game that came out this week was Triangle Strategy. I haven't purchased it, although I might. They have the demo out now where you can play through. I forget how many missions it
I
promised.
think it's 3.
And then three chapters, and then you can do you can level up only to 5. So even if you get in there and try to grind your characters on those, you can't because it caps them at 5 unless you buy the real game. But it gives you a good feel for the game. I've done 2 of the battles so far, and wanted to give some of my thoughts. And if you guys played it, I want to see what you think too. But in general, the visuals and gameplay, this is a 90s throwback for most of you too. It reminds me a ton of Ogre Battle and Tactics Ogre. Like I know people are going to compare it to, they're going to compare it to lots of other games, but those like as soon as I saw this, I was like, I'm playing Tactics Ogre right here. Like this looks so much like that.
Yeah.
And the storyline too, with the different kingdoms and who you are, and you're usually kind of like you're either a complete nobody or you're in a lesser house trying to rub elbows or whatever to get yourself up a little higher or to stop some insurrection, whatever it is you're trying to do. That's how the Ogre games a lot of times went. By the way, really unsung, awesome strategy game of Super Nintendo was the Ogre Battle March of the Black Queen. Have you guys played that game?
No. I know the series, but I've not that particular one.
So Tactics Ogre is the grid-based isometric view, like Triangle Strategy, and you kind of take turns. But Ogre Battle traditionally is more of a map, and it's all in real time. And so you select your unit, and it's just like a little figurine. It almost looks like a game board. Your little figurine, and then you map where you want it to move, and it starts to slowly move across the map. And all of the pieces are moving at once. So once you encounter an enemy piece, then it goes to a battle screen, and you fight it out. And each of those pieces represents a unit that you put together. You level them up. You pick their class. It's auto battles. So like if you have 2 wizards, and if you've got some fighters in the front row to protect them, they're going to fight automatically. It's all kind of roll the dice. But you're positioning them on the map to fight. It's very interesting. I loved that game. That game was super underrated, and not a lot of people played it. But it's great. Anyway, I got to be honest, though, when I fired this up, it didn't look as visually captivating as I kind of thought it might be. Like when I played Octopath Traveler, and still when I fired up, it looks amazing. Like the visuals still are like, whoo, this looks great. And Bravely Default 2 was like, wow, this looks really impressive. This one was it Bravely Default 2? Yeah. Anyway, this one, it's pretty old looking. I don't know. It doesn't look that great to me when I was playing it. I don't know. It didn't look ugly, but it certainly wasn't a looker.
Was it kind of like almost like a blurriness to it, or
a blurriness, you might say? Digital Foundry put out a video on it. I'm just kidding. But no, it's just it truly blurry actually is a really good description here, and it doesn't have that cool depth of field that Octopath. It has a little bit, like there's moments where the water looked really cool in one scene, but in general, it just looks okay. So I wouldn't say this is a visual showpiece for this, this new art style that Square is doing a lot of.
The HD 2D.
Yeah, it's not.
I thought it looked good, but it did not look as good as Octopath.
Yeah, it's not. It's not like this is ugly. It's more like okay.
In fact, there's something really nice and familiar about it. When I look at it, I'm like, oh. Yeah.
Maybe that's just more opportunity.
Times,
looks like a Game Boy Advance game, and that I'm totally in for that. I love it. It just didn't strike me.
It could be a little sharper, and I think you have something there with the depth of field too. Like,
and I'm playing it on handheld, and I thought that it's not like I put it on a big screen.
Yeah.
Like I was on handheld mode where it should be as sharp as could be on that little screen.
Yeah,
well, I'm guessing you don't like sort of navigate the world in this like you do Octopath, right? Where there's actual areas.
No, so it's like it's like old school Fire Emblem, where you've got a map, and every time you complete a mission, then the next map road kind of fills in, and you can go there. Or depending on the mission, there'll be a little spin-off optional side mission. But if you skip it, it might disappear. Yeah, it's one of those where it's
like
taking
the 3DS era Fire Emblem was really like that. Yeah.
It reminds me.
You guys would know if y'all actually played good games. But,
I love that game.
Tim and I will carry the torch on that.
Absolutely. So that part of it is very fire.
You're terrible.
Like
you're wrong.
The combat to me isn't nearly like as much like a Fire Emblem as much as it is like Tactics Ogre or Final Fantasy.
Not even as flashy as Fire Emblem or Tactics Ogre. I feel like actually that's the one negative I have about this game is that I kind of wish the back and forth in the battle were a little more flashy.
Well, I mean, how many hours are you guys in?
It is very fun. Yeah, I actually really like the gameplay a lot.
I just did 2 missions.
Yeah,
so I'm not super far.
I mean, these kind of games
on the
like
second mission. So
these kind of games, you're like when you're like 20 hours in, you're like, holy shit! Like I'm overwhelmed by how much.
I'm with you. I love the combat. I love the strategy in the combat's great. It's everything I want in a game like this where you have the multiple levels, and it's just like I have played in the Tactics Ogre and Final Fantasy Tactics and all the other tactics games that I think are great.
Yeah,
it's just like those. It plays just like those, and I love that. And it does all that stuff really well. It doesn't. I think the visual excitement just isn't there. Whether it's just the overall fidelity of the game or the effects of the combat. And
the effects of the combat just like Fire Emblem goes to its own like stage and like you see animations happening. I feel like this game like lacks animations. Almost.
I think that
kind of like Pokemon battling. They kind of move forward and like and then like
and then you stick a little sword.
Yeah. It's just there's not a lot to it.
I think it's an interesting comparison. Like thinking of something like this, like more old school, where it's like a grid-based navigation, so you're moving from square to square, comparing it to say like a Valkyria Chronicles, which I think is actually it's almost kind of like taking Final Fantasy VII Remake versus the old one, like just completely turn-based and then like flipping it into more of an action RPG but still having some strategy. Like it's kind of like you're taking like these old ideas and then trying to modernize it, but still trying to make it fun and still maybe trying to hit some nostalgia for people that are like, I'm not quite sure if this new thing. So I don't know. I mean, Valkyria Chronicles, I think, just does that kind of game, like strategy. I think it does it the best.
Because it takes pieces of the XCOM formula too, where you move freely. Kind of pick where to set up for cover and all that. I like
because that's important, right? Because if you got to get behind something, or you're just gonna get blasted, and
So this is.
Oh,
go ahead.
Jen.
Go ahead, Kyle.
I was just gonna say I have a feeling like we're gonna hear a lot about how good the story is in this game as reviews start coming out.
Yeah, that's the sense I got.
Forward. I just feel it's very Game of Thronesy to me, which I know about the 10 people just turned this podcast off because I said that. But like no, it's very.
The ending was terrible.
I just hated how like everything happened. Anyway, like I just feel like it's about houses fighting each other.
The books, people, relax. The books. It's like the books.
Sure. Yeah, it's about the like houses fighting each other. It's very regal. It's knights. Like it's just it's fantasy.
Well, there's a political struggle, and it's all these resources in the world. I liked the setup. I thought the setup was like.
I was big into the setup. Arranged marriages and stuff like that going on in the very first mission of the game. So it's like I
gotta tell you,
coming over.
We should still be doing that. Am I right, fellas?
Prima nocta. Am I right, guys?
Prima nocta. Oh my gosh. Yeah. The overall, I think if you like turn-based strategy games, if I say Final Fantasy Tactics and you sit up in your chair or stand up or whatever it is that you do, like this is a game you should play.
This is the game you've been waiting for, I think.
This is 100% a game you should play. It's brand new story, new characters, and it's going to have all that stuff in terms
tied
of
to any existing
strategy.
IP. This is like this was someone's brain baby, and I think that again I from the little I've seen and just the vibes I'm getting, I think the story is going to be the big takeaway here. We're not going to care about stupid animations and and stuff like that down the line. But 20 hours in, you're going to be really like, oh, I can't believe that character died, and like now this thing is happening, and this villain is crazy.
That's what normally I kind of avoid these games because they're terrible. And
you're wrong. No, I'm sorry.
I know, but no, you're wrong now. But it's the story. It's the story that makes me want to keep playing it because it's just such an interesting setup.
It is interesting.
And it's such a unique world. I just can't
that first mission
comprehend how people write stories like that.
Shows up and there's like, that's who that character. There's a kind of a cool little moment there.
Yeah.
I will say this though, the voice acting is pretty bad. So
someone else brought that up too, and I'm like, I'm so like deaf to this stuff, like bad voice acting at this point.
The Japanese
but
games,
like when someone says it and I start listening, I go, I mean, you're right. It just.
But I'll say this. It's not. I've heard way worse voice acting. It's not the first time. I just want an option to turn off the voiceovers because I'll just read it. Like, let me just read it because the writing isn't necessarily bad. Like, it's not like the translation.
It's already an old school throwback. Let me just.
So let it just be.
I'm comfortable reading it and hearing as it goes along. I don't care.
That's fine. And you know what it is? It's not. I mean, there's a couple of times where the performance is like, wow, they really just truly read that. That's all they did. They just read that line. Wow. There's a few of those, but it's not all like horrible. It's a combination of the timing is weird because they'll talk And even if you put it on auto, like there's an option where you can just let the conversation. You don't have to wait to hit A every time. If you hit the right trigger, it'll kind of just move along by itself. So I was hoping that would make it flow a little more. Like you finish talking, that means the next person starts. Now that's still this very weird kind of cut timing to it. So it's a combination of probably how they were directed and also how it's been edited, and also the performances are just kind of meh. They're not.
I mean, auditory is a big deal for selling the story, though. Like, you know, like I quit playing Okami because everyone does what Jeff was doing, where it was like, you know, and like every.
Well, if you're gonna have a character say a word like shan't, right? Like I shall not, but you put it together because it's colloquial for that old.
Should, but short.
Yeah.
If you're gonna say shan't, then you need to have a British accent, because if it's an American person, like there's one person that says, "Hey,
Shan't.
It's on you now, protect her," and she goes, "I shan't." I'm like. Does that mean you had an accident in your pants?
Yeah,
what does that mean?
I
You
shanted my
shanted?
pants.
I thought I
Somebody
smelled
give me a
something.
washcloth.
I thought I smelled something.
I shanted my pants.
So anyway, it's again not bad enough that it's like I'll never play this. I've played games like that where I'm like, I don't think I can listen to these voices. I've had games like that, but
I've played so many like Japanese games being translated that it's like I'm just numb to it, even when it is legitimately bad. You know,
Yeah,
I'm just like, I'm here for it. I don't even care.
I'm with Dan on that one.
I'm here for it.
But I agree with Tim that there should be a way to like.
You're a bad game.
There should be a way to turn off. Again, I would have beaten Okami if you could turn off like the nonsense, like dialogue in that game.
The noise.
I couldn't
Just
do
the
that in
noise,
Ukulele because Ukulele was trying to do throwback to nostalgia for Banjo-Kazooie, and for some reason with Banjo-Kazooie it just works. But like Ukulele, I was just like, please shoot me in the head.
Because Banjo-Kazooie came out in 1999.
Yeah. You're right. Ukulele stroke. That was a problem with ukulele. I agree with that. I didn't like that either.
I just don't like. I don't like noise talking. You know, like Animal Crossing does it. Like, there's so many games that do this.
Or
still.
Navi from Zelda, right?
Yeah. Seriously, Zelda is filled with that. Also,
but at least it's mostly her going like, "Hey," like that's most.
Hey,
that's mostly overall, really cool game. I do recommend it if you like that style of game, especially. Or just try the demo. You have a Switch, why not? Go give the demo.
It's 3 levels, and I mean, it took me a while to get to the first level and a half. So I mean,
give the demo a whirl.
Same here.
Jeff, tell me about your Kirby Forgotten Land demo. Did you play it at all?
Oh, I played it too.
I did. Oh, I played it. All right, Dan, what do you think about it?
I really like it. I think it's absolutely like gonna be the best Kirby game ever made.
Can you break what is it? I'm totally not sold in this game, and
it's like open area. It's open area. It's not quite as
think Mario 3D World, 3D Land, but for Kirby.
Yeah.
It's not Mario Odyssey for Kirby or Mario.
That's what. Okay, so it's not Odyssey. It's more 3D World.
More 3D
it's
World.
The quirkiness. It's the quirkiness of Kirby, but like open area is like a Mario like 3D World exactly. The powers.
Odyssey,
it looks
so thank
good.
You for making that differentiation. Yeah.
It looks really good. It's I mean, charm is the name of the game here. Like it's wordless cutscenes that tell the little story. Very cute. I mean, just cuteness abounding. Maybe too much. I don't know. It's just.
I mean, my wife loves Kirby. She's like thinks he's adorable. So
it's really well done.
Literally a pink circle.
It's really well done.
Cutest pink circle ever.
the power, even in the demo, the first I think I've gotten 4 powers maybe total, and they're all fun and funny and creative, and they do a good job of those. And also, when you start each level, you get to pick difficulty. Do I want to kind of go classic, just super easy? I've never played a video game before, or do you want to go? They call it wild
mode.
Wild
mode. Did you guys
mode.
play Kirby Crystal Shards back in the day?
Yeah,
Crystal
Does
Shards.
That got vibes like that?
I don't know if I remember that one.
No, that one didn't.
That one was like level to level. I know it was more like side scroller, obviously, but it had like
It's a little like that because there are areas that you complete and then you go out to like a more of a menu to select which level you want to go to next. So it's a little like that in some ways.
I got to be honest, I really like Kirby Crystal Shards is like one of my favorite N64 games ever.
I think if you like just kind of this like open area platforming type of games, and again, you could obviously play the demo. Like
I'm the guy who didn't like Mario Odyssey because there was too much jumping. You know, like that's,
what the hell?
Wait, seriously?
That's who I am. Yeah, no,
wow.
It's not a.
He's Mario.
I'm sorry, I don't.
So
3D Mario. I don't know what to tell you guys. Yeah.
I really thought you were kidding. That is
no. You guys don't like judgment. I don't know what we're doing here. You know, like
we're judging you.
Who's you guys?
You guys don't play Yakuza.
I'm the perfect
What are we
gamer,
doing here?
Okay.
You guys could like Metal Gear Solid more. What are we doing here, guys?
Hey, wait, hold on. I love Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, no, I'm just casting stones now. No. I like you will never hear me say Mario Odyssey is an awful game. I would never say that. Like I don't like anything that has to do with like precision jumping. Like I've got horrible depth perception. Like I just like those games don't vibe with me at all.
This is not so much about platforming, right, Tim? It's more about like the quirkiness of getting powers. Like for example, the cone power.
So this sounds like Crystal Shards to me, where it's power based and you're just trying to get through levels. And
that. I mean, it's Kirby. So you played a Kirby game before, then that you'll get. It just happens to be more of a 3D space, like isometric 3D mostly. Sometimes they zoom in. Sometimes they zoom in behind you for certain sections, and then sometimes they kind of raise the camera where it's a little more. And then you can't turn the camera. It's not a. It's again. That's why I compare it to 3D World or 3D Land, where it's a little bit overhead. A little bit,
right?
Yeah, you can kind of like angle it. It kind of just tilts a little bit, but you can't spin the camera around. It's setting it for you, which is actually fine because they set the camera up in a way that you can play it appropriately and it moves when it needs to.
It has your traditional powers that Kirby's always has, but then like with the cone power, for example, he absorbs the cone. He's a big old cone. So there's like these little turtle enemies that instead of shells though, they have it's basically like a piece of a building, and it has like a crack on the top. So basically, you have to try to dodge because he's trying to like snap at you. You have to like dodge the snaps and then like climb on top of his back, and then you do like a ground pound with the point of the cone.
Yeah.
But you need the cone in order to do that, essentially.
And the car is pretty fun. You run over everything. The vending machine is pretty funny. I like the vending machine.
Spits out the sodas. Yeah. So they actually serve a purpose, like each of those specific those new powers where he's just like absorbing like large objects.
I mean, this game is targeting kids or people who want to just play a lighthearted kind of platforming.
There is co-op. I didn't try it. Did you try co-op or?
I did not.
Oh, that's kind of sounds interesting to me. So you're just going through the levels together, like Kirby?
I don't know if it's a second character. I'm wondering if it's almost like because I think I remember from the trailer. It's almost like something like Mario Galaxy, where like it was a star. Yeah, something kind of like that. I could be wrong, but I think it's something along the lines of that.
Yeah, pretty fun. Go check it out. I mean, the game doesn't come out for
I'll get the demo.
Weeks.
That sounds. I mean, y'all kind of sold me on that.
I got the demo downloaded. I just haven't. I really wanted to play Horizon every time.
I couldn't get a feel for it like in the trailers. I'm just like, what is it? And I thought it was like a Kirby Odyssey game. Like that's kind of what
that's what I thought too.
So.
That's not super far off. It's just it plays more like a 3D World or 3D Land.
Yeah.
Than it does Mario Odyssey. But
if you
still the same idea where you've got there's puzzle-y areas that you have to get the right power to get past. I mean, it's a little like that, but it's I don't think precision jumping is going to be required in this game. No. I could be wrong, but I don't think that's going to be.
If you finish the demo, you get 2 codes to unlock 2 unlockables for the full game. Yeah. So that's pretty cool.
There you go. There's your motivation.
Yeah, there you go, Kyle.
Suddenly motivated. Yeah.
Get
you
those
know
codes.
who needs motivation is people who like platinum games because no one's playing Babylon's Fall.
I wanted to play this game so bad.
Nobody
literally didn't know it was even out. Like it just kind of came out, and I was like, "What?"
Was it Gaston or Andrew that posted? They were like, "Wait, this game's out." I downloaded the demo a couple days ago, and I was legitimately going to play it, but then I was like, "No, Elden Ring and Horizon's out. I don't have time for this." Like,
right. I mean, there's other good games that I have to put on the shelf. I'm not going to put a bad game on the shelf to play a little bit later. Babylon's Fall, I think, didn't even crack the top 50 on the day it released in terms of active concurrent players on Steam.
Right.
There's no reviews for it.
But Guardians is a disappointment, guys.
The Guardians is a disappointment. Right. Yeah.
Like I don't know if I've ever seen anything like this where it's like nobody has a review out for this game. Like I know probably some like fringe YouTuber who scored some like bogus copy or something of it, has a review of it. But like IGN, there's no review. Like
I'm trying to think. It's games as a service, so I'm trying to think back to like Destiny.
But it's $60.
No, right.
Is it a games as a service game?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and I think why people. Yes. I think that's why people are kind of like.
I had no idea.
Like, because I think it's just really like pushing that model as opposed to it being like a good platinum.
Is there a possibility that this game is really good in 2 years? You know, like they're like we've been working on this game, like a No Man's Sky situation. It's like we've been working on this game for a while.
It's just
I
please.
think they're gonna quit on this one.
Yeah,
for the love of God, stop just entering the idea of a game and making a game with that premise in mind. Like that just shouldn't be out the gate what you're deciding the game should be.
I feel like you should make a game and then if organically you're like, oh, this might actually be better for like a co-op games with a service type model.
Yeah.
Maybe develop it into that, but like
listen,
I feel like if you start developing a game or service game from the ground up, like they're always doomed, right? It feels that way to me.
The good news is Platinum Games typically has a rotation here. So bad game, that means the next one should be great. So I can't wait.
Soulsbound 2, guys.
Yeah, I was gonna say Scalebound, right?
We're Scalebound. We're not even gonna do the first one. We're gonna go right to the second one.
It's just Scalebound 2.
Yeah, no, the first they're gonna play like the first one actually came out and we all played it, but we didn't. So Scalebound 2.
Can't wait.
What about Conan Chop Chop? Did anybody end up playing that one?
Conan Chap.
That's a
basically
great
a castle.
game
For those that don't know, it's a Castle Crashers clone, kind of. It's not side-scrolling. It's more like, I don't know. It's hard to describe.
Like arena.
It has a bit of an arcade beat 'em up look to it in some cases. It looks fun.
But it's
looks fun.
4-player beat 'em up.
Yeah,
that type of thing.
The only other one I wanted to mention before we move on is Far Changing Tides. I won't spend a lot of time on this, but I will say if you have Game Pass, why not download it, give it a try. If you kind of need a palate cleanser, if you need a little bit of a break from the other stuff you're playing, maybe you don't. That's fine. But I do think that both of these Far games, the first one was Lone Sails. They're just these fun little side-scrolling indie. I would call them like puzzle adventure games because you're basically in both games you acquire this large vehicle that progressively becomes more complex to run and get through each area. So whether you have to activate the sails or repair something that broke, or get some fuel for the engine or whatever, each of them have their own kind of puzzle to keep the ship or vehicle running. And then there's also, you get stopped a lot. You have to get off the ship and either go find the item you need to get running again or find something to move whatever's in your way. So it's all one of those wordless, there's some kind of apocalypse that happened. It's a very bland, empty, clearly destroyed world. And you're just traveling through it. That doesn't tell you why. There's no talking. You don't talk about your stash ever. So if you need to have no stash talk, then I do recommend it. I think they're very cool looking and very kind of
I liked what I saw of it. Yeah. I did download it because Game Pass, obviously, poor pass. And I do want a game like that where it's like, I don't know, feels like you were saying, like a palate cleanser, where it's just it's like almost no stress involved.
Right.
Well, Babylon's Fall, guys, am I right? That's a palate cleanser.
That's something.
If you want a palate filled with crap or something, I don't know.
Yeah, good one.
Crap cleanser.
Got it.
Boom.
I wish my palate had more poop in it.
That's super
I'm
gross.
35.
Poop
All right, guys, before we talk about stuff we're watching, let's take a quiz together. Here we go. I'm going to share my screen.
Oh, wow.
Let's find out how much we know about. This is called the Ultimate Gamer Quiz. If you're watching on YouTube, hopefully you can see
Ultimate Gamer.
My screen here. Tell me if you can see it.
Also, if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to mash that like button.
Like and subscribe.
But don't unsubscribe if this quiz tells us we're not real gamers. That would be really mean. And
all right, if this quiz sucks,
subscribe
you gotta
more.
blame Google, because as I was searching around for some, this is one of the top results, no matter how I phrased it. So this is on Beano.com.
That sounds racist.
Beano quiz team.
It really does.
The name of my old roommate is Beano.
I know.
All right, so guys, we got 14 questions. We'll answer these together, and we'll see if we are a video game virtuoso or a software smithy.
I don't even know what that means. Yeah.
I don't either. I don't know what this means.
Software
All right,
smithy.
we're gonna find out. See, maybe
Can't
we
wait
are
to be
already
one of
stuck
us.
at this, because maybe that's a reference we should get.
Yeah, I know. It's going bad right out of the gate, guys. Yeah.
Uh-oh. All right, so let's start with number one. What is Luigi's favorite food? Sausages and mash, pizza, cheese toasty, or roast beef?
I feel like it's none of
I'm
these.
sorry, what?
I feel like it's cheese toasty. Like I picture him saying that.
No, that doesn't.
It's got to be pizza, right? Like,
No,
for
that's
Italians?
true. It's a little. I think that's racist. I don't think we.
No, it's
not.
I mean, they are.
All Italians eat pizza. They ain't doing this. I don't know.
in the late
I'm
80s.
kind of on Jeff's like bread, like cheese toast thing.
What do you think,
Uh,
man? I've literally never heard that come out of any
I've
of
never heard him say any of these. So
Yeah, me neither.
going-
Me neither.
Are we
So
going
it's a
cheese
total guess
toasty?
for me.
No, I don't know. What do you guys feel?
I mean-
you feel pretty good about pizza, Tim. Dan,
I vote pizza. Dan, what do you think?
what's your
gonna
feels
say-
on pizza?
I mean, sausage and mash sounds weird, so I guess pizza probably would make the most sense, but that might be too easy. That might be too on the nose.
Okay.
That's the
So
thing.
what are you doing? Cheese toasty or pizza?
I mean, who
Cheese
cares?
toasty sounds
Just-
specific.
Just do cheese toasty.
Yeah, we're doing cheese toasty. It sounds specific. Maybe it's just specific enough to be the right answer. Who knows?
Okay.
When was the PlayStation 5 released? January 2020, June 2020, November 2020 or January 2021?
November 2020.
It's November, right?
We got it. All right, number 3. What was the first commercially successful video game? Pong, Donkey Kong Country, Super Mario Brothers, or Shaq Fu?
Shaq Fu.
I love
Way to
that
just
that's
throw
an
that
option.
in there. Yeah.
Was it Mario Bros was the first commercially successful, or was Pong?
I think it's
I mean,
Pong.
It's gotta be
Probably
Pong.
It's gotta be Pong, right?
Was Pong commercially
I mean,
successful?
everybody was playing that. That was the first game
Okay.
my parents told me about
I
playing.
feel like
so-
it's got to be Pong. Yeah,
It's gotta be
like,
Pong.
and
Yeah.
if it's Mario Brothers, it's a superficial definition of what commercially successful
I
is.
agree. That's a good call. It's not like Pong was a failure, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
we
right.
still make versions of that. So,
Number 4. What is the best-selling video game of all time? Red Dead Redemption 2, FIFA 18, Minecraft, or Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3?
Gotta be
wish-
Minecraft,
I
right?
wish
Minecraft.
it was Red Dead 2, but it's Minecraft.
I think it's Minecraft. Now, if they really wanted to like make us think about it, they should have listed like Tetris and then like Grand Theft Auto 5.
Right.
You know what
Right.
I
I,
mean?
Or
that would have
different
screwed me
Modern
up if it
Warfare.
was Tetris. I would have been
Yeah.
like, maybe it's because I think it is Tetris, right? Isn't Tetris?
If you count all the variations, it might be.
Yes. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
that's what it is.
But yeah, definitely Minecraft out of those options. Number 5. What inspired games maker Satoshi Tajiri to create Pokemon? Was it a dream, butterflies, an old TV show, or his mom?
His
The correct
mom.
answer is who cares?
His mum.
All
I
right.
feel like I should know this.
Was it
Yeah.
butterflies?
It's one of the first two, I think, because
A dream,
those sound familiar. I swear I've heard this before.
Let's pick one because I'm tired of this gif of
I'm gonna say a dream. I'm gonna say a dream.
a dream. Kyle or Jeff, any guesses or thoughts?
Sure, a dream.
A dream sounds fine.
Some
All
of
right,
those
we're
seem
going-
creepy enough to be a dream.
We're going with the dream because I have no idea either. So I like that. Number 6. What is the name of this character? It's Bomberman.
Bomberman.
Yeah.
Sir Michael Redgrave.
Ben Folds.
Ben Folds. Hey, at least they're having fun with this
This
quiz.
is the dumbest quiz ever.
Marvin the Martian.
I love it. I think this is a great segment. I think we should do more quizzes.
What
this
is a
one's-
frag?
This one's controversial. What is a
This-
frag?
Hey,
The
man,
number of
what's it
things
called?
It's a kill.
things you've killed in the game, a cheat code, a French bag, or a
a
burrowing
kill.
marsupial that lives in the South Australian outback and feeds on grubs, rocks, and dice.
It
Wow.
is actually that one. Sorry.
It's what English people smoke, right? Or is
That's
that
the number of
no,
things you
can't say
killed
that.
in the game, right? Number of things you killed. Number 1. Yes.
Yeah.
It's a frag. Yeah.
Huh.
It's a,
Okay. I
You
just
know
think
that?
of frag grenades. That's all I think
No,
of.
a,
when I
fra-
hear
a frag is like CS talk. Like I fragged
That's
them.
Counter Strike.
Yeah,
Totally.
yeah,
yeah.
Okay.
Number 8. What's the biggest selling video game of all time? What?
Oh no.
Oh no. Bino, get your stuff together here.
What is going on here?
Minecraft, Roblox, FIFA, and The Sims. All right, I'll go Minecraft again. Maybe we get a free one, right? We get a free.
I guess.
So wait, what was the difference between that question and the other one?
I don't know.
Best
Yeah.
selling and biggest selling, right? Best selling and biggest.
That's
selling.
basically the same fucking
It's the
question.
same thing. Those are
Like, God damn
synonyms.
it.
I
Are we
think
sure it's not? How do we know it's not Roblox?
I'm gonna guess that
Trick.
the team at Bino just put all these questions into a bucket, and
I
they
have a
didn't talk to
feeling that
each
the
other
team at
about
Bino
what the
may
best-
not speak English either. So
Yeah.
That's racist.
What's the biggest selling? Good question. All right, number 9. What is the armored vehicle in Halo called? Sir Killalot, Bashor, Rocksteady, or Warthog? Obviously.
Rocksteady, duh. No.
All right, moving on to
Bebop.
number 10. What was Sonic the Hedgehog's original name? Fast
Colin
Blue
the-
Hedgehog, Colin the Hedgehog, Mr. Needle Mouse, or Steven?
What was the first one?
Fast Blue Hedgehog, Colin the Hedgehog, Mr. Needle Mouse, or Steven?
I like Mr. Needle Mouse.
I have
think
no
it's the
idea.
first one, if I had
Fast-
to take a guess.
Fast
I
Blue
mean,
Hedgehog. I think so
let's-
too.
Let's just
Yeah,
do
I
that.
think
I
so
think
too.
that-
This is one of those where it's like I feel like the obvious one is
Dude,
right.
this is 1992. Everyone's really dumb. Like that is absolutely the name before some like.
Fast Blue Hedgehog. All right, number 11. Ooh, that's picture. Yikes. What is the name of Ratchet's killer robot friend? Killer. It's Clank. It's not Clunk, Bonk, or Bungo. Okay, it's Clank.
I feel like some of these are really easy and others are really obtuse and hard for no reason. I feel like there's no.
All right, we got
theme to
a
these
true or
questions.
false. UK versions of FIFA 2001 were on a smell the pitch, scratch and sniff disc. True or false?
What?
I really.
That's so specific. I
like
feel
if
like it
you-
has to be true, right?
I feel
gotta
like if
be
you. I don't know.
I'm gonna go false. But
How are
Okay,
these
so
questions that justify
Think about
that you're a gamer?
so this is 2001, right? Magazines were still kicking. Magazines had lots of scratch and sniff stuff for
Yeah,
like, and like
yeah.
Sure.
they could do it on a disc, couldn't they?
It just
No?
seems like such a specific question. I don't know. Like,
Is that
like-
is it stupid? Like smell the pitch, really? Is it? I don't know. What do you think? True or false?
I
I think
say
it's
false.
false. That's stupid.
It's so stupid.
I think it's so
true.
stupid. It's so stupid. Like we're sitting here thinking about it because it's so.
I'm going false. I think it's false.
Yeah, I think it's false.
Yeah. Number 13. What is the fictional language of the Sims? Simian, Simlish, Somali, or Cemento?
Somali shouldn't be in there. That's racist.
You can always find
Really
something.
racist quiz.
All right, last one, number 14. Then we'll find out if we're a virtuoso or a smithy, whatever that is. How many PlayStation 4 consoles have been sold as of February? Is I think when this thing was published. 5 million, 56 million, 62 million. Oh, it's got to be the last one. Over 102 million.
Yeah.
So it's that one.
It's a dead giveaway. All right, let's see. How did we do?
So now if you scroll up, it's probably going to show.
Oh, yeah. All right. We got some right and some wrong. Here we go. Let's start at the top. Luigi's favorite food
God
is
damn
pizza.
it. Toasty. Tim and I were right.
It's pizza, not cheese toast.
Man.
I don't
Dang.
So we're 0 for 1. Number 2, November. We got that one right. PlayStation 5 was released. First commercially successful video game was Pong. Best-selling video game of all time was Minecraft. Yeah. I wonder if it was the biggest.
Ah, damn it.
The inspiration for Pokemon was a dream. No, it was butterflies, not a dream.
Butterflies.
It was butterflies. This is Bomberman. This picture they showed us for number 6. Number 7, a frag is the number of things you've killed in a game. Biggest selling video game is also the best selling video game.
This is the dumbest question.
Minecraft. Yes, the armored vehicle in Halo is the Warthog.
Wait, I just realized that also has a picture of a GameCube controller. Why?
It does.
Oh, the Sonic one's wrong. I felt really confident about the Sonic
one.
No,
is Mr. Needle Mouse.
That's what I was saying.
Mr. Needle Mouse.
Damn it.
That is hilarious. Could you imagine if that was what they called it? Mr. Needle Mouse.
I feel like
They
Should have gone with what I said.
Wait a second. Is his last name Needle Mouse? Is it Sonic Needle Mouse?
Yeah.
Is that his name?
Yeah.
Is it?
It is now. It is now.
Canon.
Ratchet's friend, of course.
We got Clank, guys. Good job.
Guys, it was true.
Yeah,
FIFA,
see?
Oh my God.
Told you it was so stupid it was true.
Yeah,
FIFA did have a smell the pitch, scratch and sniff disc in
How
2001.
do you smell a pitch?
Wow.
I don't even know what that means.
I actually don't care. Just
Someone just
like
rubbed
smell
grass.
the yellow of a soccer player?
Yeah,
I
it
don't
might
know.
smell
Gross.
like grass or cleats or something.
Yes, the fictional language of The Sims is Simlish. And yes, over 102 million PlayStation things. But they didn't give us like a summary or like a.
Well, was that 3 wrong, 4 wrong?
We got 3 wrong, so we're 70%. That's passing. We did it, guys. Good job.
We're
Yeah,
true
how many did we
gamers
get?
and not
We
We're
got
true gamers and not.
one,
not
2.
Smith, Agent Smith. We're not
3.
Agent Smith.
We had 4
we got
wrong.
4 wrong. Oh.
But we got 10 out of 14. What is that percentage? Someone give it to us.
Yeah. I thought it was just 10 questions. My bad. Yeah, I don't
There you
know.
go.
That's not my forte.
10 out of 14. Not too bad. Definitely not virtuosos, I think it's safe to say.
We got
We're
71%.
And that's enough to get to college.
We are a 7 out of
That's
10
enough
as a
to get
gamer.
to college.
That's enough to get to community college. That's good.
College.
We are a 7 out of 10 as a gamer.
Oh, see, that's perfect.
Yeah.
That's
Wouldn't
what I
expect
need.
anything less.
We're swimming
Or
in
more.
us's right now.
Yeah, we're actually 7.1, so we're doing great. All right, let's hear about this some small indie film, The Batman, that just released. I do want to get some spoiler-free thoughts. If you're worried listening to this that we're going to spoil that, of course, Jeff and Kyle, who have seen it, will not spoil this movie. But give us your impressions of this movie and what do you think?
No. Next topic.
Okay.
Thumbs down.
Yeah.
So I saw it Wednesday night. I saw it at a fan event, which is really, it was just a screening anybody could go to and just buy a ticket. But the great thing about it is when I got there and sat down in my seat at showtime, they just gave you a countdown that says movie's starting in 10 minutes. There was no trailers. That was the best part because the movie's 3 hours. That was the best. I was like, sweet, I'm getting out of here like at 9. Oh, it's awesome. Anyway, so the opening of this movie is not the very opening, but the opening involving Batman is like one of my favorite Batman movies openings, like probably ever, at least for his character, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like it's the first scene involving him.
Sure.
Because the very first scene in the movie doesn't involve him. I'll just say that. So the next scene, so he's giving like a voiceover, which is not common. I don't think that's ever happened in a Batman live action movie, where he's doing a voiceover like it's a detective movie. You know, like the night is rough. It's Gotham.
Yeah, the night is cold and I'm dark. You know.
Yeah.
That type of stuff. Yeah. He doesn't say that. The writing's way better, but like that's the vibe.
Yeah. So like, I first off, I immediately love that.
Yeah.
And then the movie kind of like focuses on like this isn't really a spoiler because it's not giving away any of the story, but it focuses on like 3 different crimes happening at the same time, and as he's doing the voiceover, he's explaining I can't be everywhere at once, and so this is the second year of being Batman. You can find that out in like the synopsis and stuff. So criminals know who he is. They see the sign, the bat signal come up, and criminals lose their mind. Like they get filled with fear. They look in the darkness and they think Batman's there. You know, like they're like, he could be coming out of the shadows right now. And so when he does finally come out of the shadows, you hear boots. You hear boots walk, and it's just a presence. There's a presence to him that's unlike any Batman movie that I've ever seen.
Ooh. Matt Reeves has a real master, and I know that he has an audio guy, but like whoever he and his team is who like oversaw like the sound of this movie, and I'm not talking the soundtrack, but like the auditorial cues and stuff like that, completely masterful and out of this world. Like some of the best sound design in a movie I think I've experienced in a long time.
Every single scene Batman's entering, like there's some scenes he's already in, or they're not as important. It's not as important that he show up in a dramatic way, but every scene that he's entering, like from out of frame or coming in, he's always coming in from the darkness, and you always hear these really heavy boot steps. So it's always something like he sounds super intimidating without even doing anything. You know what I mean? Like, and they're like people are like freaked out by him, and then he beats ass. Of course, he's awesome.
Well, and he's like like this is his early years, so like, and you see this in the trailer where he like kicks, like just keeps on punching that guy over and over again. You know, shocks some guy with like his gauntlets. Like he's brutal in this movie. In not like a way that we saw like Christian Bale's and Adam West.
Christian Bale already had a noble precedent to be Batman, or at least his version of it, where like he saw what Liam Neeson's was doing was wrong. He was like, I don't agree that this is the right way, and so he already had his moral compass. It was there, you know. And this Batman is mad. He's freaking angry. And that is driving his purpose to be Batman. And it's about his evolution as being Batman. Because he's obsessed with being Batman. He loves beating the crap out of people that in his mind deserve it, that are like low lives that drag down the city more or less. Mm-hmm. He's just obsessed by it to the point that Bruce Wayne is like in 15 minutes of the movie. Like he just does not want to be Bruce Wayne at all.
I gotta say, hearing that's kind of refreshing because I feel like a lot of superheroes, their go-to storyline is their struggle with balancing their alter ego with their superhero side, and then almost always, at some point, they either partially or fully give up the superhero and then eventually get pulled back into it. I'm getting a little tired of that.
This is the opposite.
So I love hearing that.
It's like he's given up on being Bruce Wayne.
I kind of love that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Which is again, that's another refreshing take on this, and it's about how that stance is kind of going to be forced to evolve depending on the enemy that he's facing or like whatever. So I mean, there's definitely growth there, and there's a reason for it. So if you hear, you're going to hear this criticism a lot. I wish Bruce was in it more, or I wish he was more of a Bruce Wayne. It's like there's a story reason for that not happening, and you're just not observant. That's all it is.
Yeah, Matt Reeves knows how to make a movie, man. Like he did the 2 follow-ups to the Planet of the Apes. Like he didn't do the Rise.
Dude,
I don't
those
think
movies.
He
didn't do Rise, but I love Rise. Yeah,
Rise is great, but Dawn and War were both super epic and
awesome.
beautifully shot.
And you know how he does that thing where he dwells on a shot or a scene.
Yeah,
he does that a lot here. He's
that's
like
wise movie's 3 hours long. You know.
Yeah, he's kind of the man.
The movie breathes. Every scene breathes. Yeah. You're never. It's not cut to hell. You're not jumping around everywhere. This movie is so consistently one story, and I think it takes place over the course of like 6 nights or something like that. I think it like starts on like
a week. Yeah, it's like a week.
I think it's Halloween, the 31st, and then I think
it's a reference to the long Halloween arc. Yeah.
And like so, but like you feel like you're there for all 6 days, and it's not like jumping around everywhere and cutting. He does these and that's a Matt Reeves thing. Like this is more of a compliment to him than it is like the movie. I don't know. Like there was a lot going on in this movie that is, I don't know. I think maybe Jeff will agree with me that people are just not going to be for. You know, like this movie is basically like it's a crime thriller. You know, it's a detective crime thriller. It's not like, it's almost not a superhero movie.
Well, that's what Batman was.
Batman.
That's what his actual original form, right?
Like, I mean, like he is doing like 90% of this movie is him doing detective work. You know what I mean? So it's like all these people who were even complaining all these years about like, oh, Batman needs to be more of a detective. Like this is it. Like this is like, this feels very film noir. It's shot film noir. The
I will say,
narration is film noir.
I've always defended Bruce. Bruce is mainly the one doing detective work in the Nolan movies, but I've always defended him doing detective work in Dark Knight because like that's still a masterpiece.
Yeah.
That's still the masterpiece. Not maybe as a Batman movie, but like as a Batman versus Joker movie, I guess. I don't really know how to phrase it at this point. But that movie's still like the masterpiece, and this movie is probably like right below it. Like, I mean, that's how much I love it right now. Like he had that scene where he's trying to identify the fingerprint in a bullet, and I'm in Dark Knight, and I'm like, people forget that just to complain about him not doing detective work.
And like, no, he literally did detective work.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
But yeah, this movie is, because it's about a serial killer. Him and Gordon, by the way, they work together. They share the most scenes together, honestly.
It's a buddy cop movie at some point.
So it's a buddy. Yeah, it's a buddy cop movie in a way. They're trying to identify the Riddler, like establish his motive, who his next victims are. Why are they such high class, whatever you want to call it, upper class not criminals, upper class like politicians and stuff? What's going on there? There's got to be a reason behind it.
Wait, is Riddler the serial killer, or is that a separate? Oh wow!
Yeah, he is the bad guy. Yeah.
Wow.
And he's leaving notes for Batman like that.
Sure.
And Matt Reeves has said in interviews like his biggest inspiration is Seven, and like this movie is like.
Yeah,
you guys like
I get
Seven?
that.
You're gonna love this movie.
Yeah,
I don't feel like we don't get a lot of movies like that anymore. So I'm
Seven with Batman.
So was it like? Is this rated R?
Like David Fincher, like dark thrillers, like this is. Dude, and it skirts the line. Like, if you told me this movie was rated R, I'd be like, yeah, it was totally rated R.
Yeah, because there's an F-bomb. It's not Batman. It's not some try-hard line, but there's an F-bomb.
That's unfortunate.
But I think the way that they danced around it very nicely is that, yes, there is violence, but a lot of it's implied, actually. And it's just the fact that the person committing the violence is so brutal that you just assume it's nasty. You know what I mean? But they're not showing you grotesque headshots or anything. They're kind of like filming it in a way, maybe playing with the lighting or the camera cuts last second, where it's like,
think about that sometimes that's more effective.
I think sometimes it is more effective.
That final scene in Braveheart where they're ripping him to pieces, but you don't see it.
No.
But you see everyone's you hear him, and you see there's like a little jester off on the side that's like pretending.
Yeah.
Like, and then you see the faces of people that love him in the crowd that are watching, and that's all you need to see to know. Like, that's more effective to me.
Remember,
than them doing
you guys have seen the trailer, right? Where he beats up somebody and says, "I'm vengeance."
Yeah.
That's how it is in the movie. He's beating somebody, and all you hear is the sound effect of somebody getting their freaking head punched in.
He is off screen though. It just
sounds brutal, you know.
My God, he's just continuously beating the shit.
Yeah.
I like to think it's like Family Guy where he goes way too long. It's like, are they gonna keep doing?
Yeah.
Like 3 minutes. Like
3 minutes.
So there is that concern with his motivation, but they do touch on the no kill thing. He's very firmly like no kills. They're not
no guns, no kill. Yeah, no guns, no kill.
I was gonna actually mention my favorite part is the Batmobile reveal. Like, I think that's like the part that gave me the chills, because like there's kind of a scuffle and the bad guys are like about to get the drop on somebody, and then you just see like from the freaking shadows you see headlights, and you're like, what is this? And he's just revving for like 30 seconds, 45 seconds, just and the sound design, it sounds like a freaking monster, dude. And you're like, oh, like it's about to go down.
You're reacting the same way as the baddies are. You're like, oh.
Yeah.
And you see the Batmobile in the trailers, but like
as a big Dragon Ball fan, Dan, you're gonna love that part. It sounds like just
building
up.
This charging engine.
Matt Reeves is like taking this shot, taking this moment, because the enemies are like, what the hell is that? Oh, I should run now. So, and then it leads to that amazing chase scene that's his.
You see in the trailer,
Yeah, you kind of see in the trailer, I got you.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, that's a great.
Speaking of Penguin, amazing. Colin Farrell underneath all of that makeup. I had no idea where Colin Farrell began. It was all just Penguin to me. Yeah. And I'm not a big Colin Farrell fan. Kind of annoys me. I do like him.
He's good, man.
I do. that's fine. It's called opinions. But like I enjoy him in a few. I enjoy him in a few things, but most things I don't enjoy him in. He is transformative in this. He's riveting. He's amazing.
He's funny. He's funny too.
He's funny.
He's a lot of the humor in this movie.
First thing I saw him in was a small role in Minority Report, which I thought he was great in.
I hate him in that movie. He chews gum the whole movie. And he's so obnoxious.
But he's good at that role. That's what he's supposed to be.
He does kind of have like a douchey vibe around him, right?
You're right about that. He actually is supposed to be embodying my reaction to him.
That's what sells the switch when it's real. He's not the bad guy.
Yeah,
and it's old guy McGee who's the bad guy.
That is true. I will give you that one for sure. Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like that's like he's supposed to be pompous, and you're supposed to be like this.
Let's talk about Phone Booth, guys.
Phone Booth.
Hey,
classic.
Let's talk about The Recruit, guys. Come on, let's talk about The Recruit, everybody.
In Bruges is one of the best movies.
In Bruges I love him in Bruges, and that's one of my favorite movies of all time. So I don't hate the guy. I tend to not like them more.
Keep talking about the movie. I'm gonna look up more Colin Farrell movies. Go ahead.
Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah, throw some at me. I really like Colin Farrell in this movie. I think he's amazing. I really think Paul Dano is like we're gonna think back on this movie in 10 years, hopefully in 10 weeks, and just go, that was one of the greatest villain performances of all time. Like just in terms of like embodying a psychopathic incel type of character. It's amazing. I think he does a really good job.
The serial
he does most of it under a mask. Like,
yes,
I mean, it's not the way that Batman is. He covers all of his face,
right? Yeah,
and you don't see it until like the last half hour, and that's when you start to see the actual acting happening, like facial expressions. And he is a very unsettling person.
Very unsettling.
He can be. So I mean,
if he's a serial killer, then yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't expect his facial expressions to be. He's very animated and like just
very.
It's uncomfortable.
I mean, so that's like a mixture of like what the Riddler is, which I mean, he is an animated character, right? He's the Riddler.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I never thought we were gonna have like a Riddler on screen that wasn't cartoonish, like a Jim Carrey, or like how he is in most versions of him. Like
that's what I mean. Yeah.
Picture the Arkham style like Riddler, where I'm setting traps. I'm kind of like the Saw bad guy.
Right.
It's that. But somehow darker and more sinister, so it's like,
and he's smarter too than the guys that are trying to catch him. Like
he's way smarter, and then the whole thing is like he's all bronze, like this guy is like he's a thinker, It's
the fact that because I didn't realize they were coming at it from the angle of him being a serial killer. That makes it way more unique and interesting and darker, obviously.
Very. From the opening scene, it shows you exactly what type of movie it's going to be with that villain.
Yes, the opening scene really kind of sets the stage.
Man, that opening scene.
Oh boy, you guys are gonna love this movie. Like there's a lot to really enjoy about this movie, and you can sit here and talk all day.
The only other question I have about it is, does Zoe Kravitz make more than one facial expression? Because that's all I've seen in the trailers and posters is her making that same exact mouth a little bit open, staring as if she's on some serious drugs. Does she have any other facial expression, or
she makes as many facial expressions as Robert Pattinson makes, which they don't really.
They're not both very
stoic actors.
She's a Kristen Stewart style approach. I get it.
Well, I mean, she's playing a serious Catwoman.
I don't know.
She's got a lot of variety now, so I don't know.
Dude, I remember seeing someone put together.
She was great as Princess Diana, so I'll just say that.
I've seen I think she's probably grown since then. But back during her main Twilight days, right?
Oh my God, dude!
So now we're gonna do the Robert Pattinson on her. Twilight actors shouldn't be in anything ever.
So all I know is someone did a compilation of her in all these different roles, including Twilight, where and you guys have probably seen this, where it has the description of the emotion underneath, but it's all the same expressions in all these different movies. So anyway, that was the only thing.
It was the same thing with Pattinson in those movies. Those movies are just horribly directed.
No, I'm saying it wasn't just those movies. Like I've seen her in lots of other stuff, even stuff like Adventureland, which I think is a great movie, but she is super dull in. So I'm just saying, like, I feel like.
I'm glad you brought that movie up. That's not a movie a lot of people have seen, and I love that movie.
That's a great movie. That's a great movie, and I actually liked her in it, but I still was like, yes, she's just kind of a very subtle.
More recently.
She's done a lot of stretching since then, I think. Even in Charlie's Angels, she's like having fun and stuff. And I'm like, who is this?
I didn't see that one.
You should, because they're hot.
What's that one that's like in the water? What's the one that I wanted to see that? It actually looked interesting.
It was something.
Underwater. It was just Alien, but
underwater.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That actually
wasn't that inventive, but it wasn't that bad either.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah,
so Batman is a full-on recommend. See in theater.
Yeah, full throated recommend. It's my favorite movie of the year, and I've seen a lot. You guys know I've seen a lot of movies.
At least 3.
I have not, and this is definitely my favorite movie. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, go see it. If you like Batman, you're gonna like this. It just might be too long for some people. It may just be too dialogue-y for other people. So
right,
just know. Just no. I don't feel like you have to like bring your thinking cap to this one. It's more so just like it's a detective noir movie, and like those movies are chatty, you know. So like just kind of going like knowing that, you know. But the action's great, and it's high octane.
And the score is amazing too. You would have thought that Hans Zimmer couldn't be top. I mean, not that he's topped, but couldn't be matched. And the score is just fantastic because it's like a play on that, you know, the Something in the Way song, the Nirvana song that's kind of played through the trailers. The score, the Batman theme, is a take on that, where it's da 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 da, and that's the same like interval and chord structure as Something in the Way, which I thought that was super fascinating.
I love when that kind of stuff happens.
Yeah, and they did it for the Riddler too. Yeah,
I do remember when the music for Inception was actually a really slowed down version of what's the piece? You know what I'm talking about, though, right? Yeah. It's just incredibly slowed down.
Song they play in the movie. To wake up.
Really, really good.
I forget the name of it, but it's super famous. Yeah.
All right. Anything else you guys are watching before we wrap up with some headlines and stuff?
I watched all the Kingsmen's movie. I wasn't gonna watch the prequel, but then like I was just in the mood to watch the first one the other day, and then I never got around to seeing Golden Circle.
I'm gonna be honest, I'm in a minority on that, but I love that movie.
I think it's super zany, and I think that works for
it.
It
is zany.
I enjoyed it, but I do still like the first one more.
I hear that a lot, but I came away from the second one going like, this is like the tone I was kind of like that I love about these movies, like turned up to like 11.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's some pretty awesome fun sequences in the second one. Like right in the beginning, just like the car chase scene is pretty awesome.
God. Yeah.
Oh, it's great. Great.
All the lasso stuff in the second one is awesome.
I think Taron Egerton.
The Elton John stuff is so stupid. I love it.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
Same here. Yeah.
I forgot about Elton
coming in.
Yeah.
I forgot Elton John was in
great.
that.
Yeah,
that's so funny.
Bit.
Dude, he looks at the camera. He's doing a flying kick. Like
I think Taron Egerton is a great leading man. I hope he gets more roles.
I really do too. I feel like
he was great as Elton John too. I mean, that dude's a alien. Honestly,
he's true.
Yeah, he's not the problem with that movie. So that's for sure.
Yeah, but the first movie has that church scene, and I'm sorry, like that scene is like one of my favorite scenes in movies like ever. Yeah. Like that scene is insane.
It's insane. It's certainly a unique use of Freebird, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I haven't watched the newest one, but I do plan on seeing it.
Yeah, it's one of those. Seeing it too,
It's one of those things where if you watch Matthew Vaughn films, if you've seen these other ones, you kind of know like, all right, let's gear up for some wacky stuff that could never happen.
Not that much wacky stuff in that movie.
No.
It's actually a more serious affair, but there is some silly stuff in it. But it's just they forget to
like the Rasputin stuff.
The only reason I want to see it is because Rasputin is in it.
That was pretty. That was
my big draw
that
for me.
Wacky. There was a moment later on which there's a character where you're like, oh, okay. It's World War I, right? All the kind of that it's tying into those events.
Kingsman is in World War I, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a certain character who's like really determined to get into the war, and the events that happens with that character, we're like, oh, damn, I wasn't expecting that. That was pretty intense.
I expect a little more from that movie. That's I didn't hate it. I just expect a little more.
Well, I think it's because it's like when you're watching the first two, it's modern day, right? So like they've kind of like they're all doing these like insane moves and like things that don't seem realistic because this organization, I guess, is just kind of grown.
Are you talking about that moment in the middle of the movie that happens that you're like, oh, I didn't see that coming?
Yes, yeah.
Oh yeah, dude, that oof.
Yeah. I was like, oh damn.
I was like, okay, so when's the reveal happening where that didn't happen? That's
right. Yeah.
I couldn't believe that.
Yeah.
I like when movies catch you off guard like that.
It's a little more grounded as far as choreography, right? Would you say, Jeff?
Yeah, I would agree.
It's not as them flipping around and doing
with like swords on her legs.
It's reverse Star Wars. Yeah. Like the prequels, they're a little more acrobatic, you know.
Yeah.
A little more.
Hey, can we all, since Kyle's here too, can we take a moment to appreciate Mark Hamill's role in the first Kingsman movie? Can we just take a moment?
Oh my God, dude! I forgot he was in that. I forgot he was in that.
Yeah, and he doesn't last super long, but he's great.
Yeah, fantastic.
I finished the after party on. I didn't want to talk about it really until I finished it, but after party is a Apple TV Plus show, and it's fantastic. It's a comedy. It's a whodunit murder mystery type thing where this ensemble cast reunites at a high school reunion, and Dave Franco plays like a super successful Justin Bieber type, and he's like, all right, let's go to the after party. Hey, that's the name of the show. Let's go to the after party at my place. And so he dies there. Like, he dies at the after party. And so the whole show is about trying to find out who killed Dave Franco, basically. Who killed Squints
Is it
Jr.?
Weekend at Bernie's? Do they?
No. But the cast is so freaky. Even Dave Franco, and because he's in it a lot, because they tell a lot of the story through flashbacks. Every episode focuses on a different character, like what they did that night. And then, of course, you have the ultimate ending episode, which reveals everything, and it's just very satisfying and very funny. Ben Schwartz is...
Oh, Ben Schwartz.
Ben Schwartz.
I almost going to say comedian. That dude is so funny, dude. He's so
yeah.
Very funny.
Yeah.
Sam Richardson is in it, too. Alana Glazer. God, Ike Barinholtz. He makes me laugh all the time.
Nice.
Yeah, it's just a great cast. I can't recommend it enough. It's great.
Nice. All right, well, let's talk about a couple of major headlines from this week. We do know that the Returnal studio, Housemarque, they're working on a brand new IP. So there was kind of a question like, hey, will they return back to what was the name of it? Resogun, or will they do a Returnal sequel with all the success they had there? But it sounds like it's a new IP, which is currently in concept
phase. Seems like they're another studio that's really into new projects. And...
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I hope it's just as hard as Returnal, and then you guys can't beat it, and I can rub it in your face.
Hate you, bro.
Yeah.
I hope they make a fun game. That's what I.
You know what I love? I love when
game.
I purposefully choose not to continue a game. I'm told I can't beat it. Thanks, Dan. Condescending son of a. All right, so we do know that they're making a new IP, which I think is great, but it's a little surprising. I thought Returnal was such a big success, we would have seen a Returnal follow-up right away. But I think it's great. Make your own thing.
I'm into that.
You do you, Housemarque. Epic Games acquired Bandcamp in one of the more weird acquisitions that we've seen a lot of weird acquisitions, but
that one's really odd.
That one's very strange,
it's
but
kind of bizarre. Yeah.
they are. I mean, if you look on their store, they do have all kinds of non-gaming apps and things on there that sometimes I don't notice till like a big sale, and I'm like, why do they have these apps? These are kind of strange to have on here, but okay.
Yeah.
So Epic is definitely, you can tell they're kind of trying to get the feelers out to a bunch of things in the industry. They want to make sure they have at least connections with all kinds of different industry corners, and just in case it works. So whatever, that's fine.
And from Bandcamp's perspective, I guess I get it, even though there's a lot of unknown variables, because my music's on there, and I have friends that put music on there that they live off mostly Bandcamp purchases. That's like it for them. And a lot of them are like concerned, like they don't really know what this means for the long-term future. The immediate future is Bandcamp said nothing's going to change. You're going to get the money that you're going to get all your money, basically.
Yeah.
That's the appeal of Bandcamp, is they don't really steal your freaking music from you. Like, they're not Spotify giving you like fractions of pennies or whatever.
Yeah, I didn't know you bought music off of Bandcamp. I thought it was I thought it was an application to make music.
No, it allows musicians to sell directly to the listener.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But also, you can stream music on there.
GarageBand is the app.
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
GarageBand, yeah.
Yes.
But yeah.
But so for Bandcamp, they're like, okay, well, this is going to allow us to branch out into other areas and create some new opportunities for musicians. So for Epic Games, I don't know what the hell they're doing, but for Bandcamp, I guess it makes sense.
Remains to be seen if that actually affects artists, especially long term. Hopefully not too much, if at all.
Well, when they started the whole Epic Games store, they were like purposefully being like, hey, you know how Steam gives you X amount? Well, we're going to give you more with X amount, like or Y amount. Like, it was much higher than what Steam was giving their devs. So I'm wondering if they're going to do that with Bandcamp as well, like almost kind of try to be like, hey, this is where you should put your music. Like, we'll let you have more money or something.
Listen, if it turns into a thing where it somehow gets more exposure to the artists on there, that's great.
Yeah,
that'd be great, and especially if it helped them remake this, because Bandcamp, it looks dated.
It's very dated. Yeah.
So hopefully it helps them make their site a little more modern.
I agree. Well, in the least surprising news ever, Activision Blizzard is having trouble getting new talent and keeping their existing staff.
No.
I'm shocked. I am so shocked.
I can't believe
I saw that headline. I had to put it in there. I was like,
guys, it's probably
that's
because
funny.
they can't pay him enough. No, it's not what it is. It's because they
Right.
have the worst news press going on and all as possible right now. So I don't know what would bring that back outside of time. A lot of times after enough time passes, people kind of doesn't mean they're not mad about what happened anymore, but if the right people are gone and enough time passes, I could see them getting their momentum back. But we'll see. We'll see what Daddy Phil does for everybody over there.
Daddy Phil.
Getting awards.
Papa P.
Getting awards.
Speaking of awards, BAFTA Game Awards nominees were announced. So Returnal and Takes Two lead with 8 nominations. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart has 7. Forza Horizon 5 and Psychonauts 2 each have 6. And of course, Unpacking got 3. Forget this. This is so funny to me. Narrative, family, and original property.
The Brits,
hear that, Kyle?
man.
You heard
The
that,
Brits
Kyle?
love
Kyle's
the,
gone.
Kyle.
He heard Unpacking and he left.
Like, yes.
That was perfect. That's perfect. Dude, if you would have like really gone in, like, you know what, this episode's been long enough and just hung up, I would have died.
Right. Like, he's never
Died.
coming back.
The British people, man, they love their snobby games. Like, I don't know, whatever. Yeah, it's very, very particular about that game. Yeah,
Pretty consistent, except you don't see something like Guardians of the Galaxy, which we of course all loved on there.
I think they're nominated for a few, but not as many.
Ratchet
as
and Clank
the other
getting
ones.
a lot of love compared to a lot of awards. Which
Yeah,
is,
dude.
it's a
Yeah,
good
the
game.
DICE Awards especially, which is the next headline.
Oh yeah, tell me, what are those? I didn't look at that one yet. What is
So
this?
the DICE Awards, I only covered a few. Like It Takes Two won Game of the Year there. But Ratchet and Clank took 4 wins. They won for animation, art direction, technical achievement, and family game.
Yeah, I mean, deserving in all counts.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody else, so like they won the most awards. Period. Everybody else won like 2 here or there, and like Returnal won a couple, which is great. Because I know that some people felt like it was maybe slighted by just having 1 win at the Game Awards. I didn't feel that way because the game's terrible and Dan sucks. But
You're talking about yourself. You're terrible. You suck at the game.
So the DICE Awards is it in another country? I know it's industry related, right? Is it in?
I'm not sure.
I think it's here. I think it's American, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I know it's like digital something event or whatever. It's
I'm pretty sure Lawrence Sontag was there, and he didn't go out of country to do that. So
yeah. And podcast favorite Alana Pierce was there too to present.
Ah, yes.
Everybody loves her.
I think everybody hates her, right? Like,
I know.
Dude, I don't know. I've
no
kind of come
qualms with
around
her.
because I feel like
I've always been a huge fan of hers.
I have not always. I have found her at times to be one of those very preachy types, but I find her now to be one of like, hey, she's not like owned by some corporation and seems to kind of say what she's really thinking.
I think when she went to Funhouse, that kind of like mellowed her out.
All she did was tell dead celebrity jokes and sexist
and
jokes, and it's
great.
So like the way that some people,
you have to
including
admit,
like
she
look at her
was-
in the group, I'm like, I don't. That's not the Alana I know. I know the.
She was toeing the line back in the IGN days. You have to-
IGN,
I don't.
yeah.
I
She
didn't
really
follow
was.
her a lot
Yeah.
in IGN.
Okay.
So.
I didn't
how-
either. It wasn't until
She was-
Funhouse that I was like, "Who's this?"
She was
Yeah.
very SJW back in IGN.
very like.
Well, it sounded like
which is fine,
IGN
but it was a little much.
cesspool of perverts too. So maybe she had to be. So I don't.
Sure.
Who knows?
Sure, maybe.
It's one of those things where like I understand it logically, but you're also going really far to the point where it's hard to listen to your side now because you're being obnoxious. Like you've balanced out the scales on your obnoxiousness. Great.
Right.
Good job.
Yeah.
Anyway, all that to say, I was looking at DICE Awards. It was formerly the Interactive Achievement Awards. It now stands for. Hang on. Why doesn't
I
it
think
say?
interactive is in there in the word for sure.
I think developers.
Excellence. Developer innovation.
It's not saying it.
Something in
Oh,
excellence.
design, innovate, communicate, entertain.
Well, that's-
we were so off on every single letter. It was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, not
We
one
should
letter
have
was
just
guessed
not
correctly.
guessed at all and just said DICE and
Yep.
then like yeah,
And
right.
the awards actually happen in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
So there you
That's
go.
rad.
It is US based.
Well, I know that it is industry related. Like it's all people in the industry voting. Not that the Game Awards isn't that, but I think this is even more so inside baseball, if you will.
Gotcha.
So
Well,
the
what
fact that
I
it takes
did-
2-1 means we were wrong, and it should have, been.
I like DICE because it's peers voting for peers, and that's my favorite. I like that. You know, it's
I
not
like that too.
It's not journalists voting. It's people in the industry that create games voting for other people who create games. It's
there
cool.
is something nice about seeing that when other game developers, publishers, whoever are like, hey, I'm playing this Nintendo game, but you work for Sony. Like I like.
I
that.
love it. I
There's
think it's
something
the
about
coolest
it.
thing ever. Yeah. I love it whenever
That's
people are
why
talking
Phil
about.
is so likable to most gamers who aren't idiots. Like they like him because he seems to genuinely enjoy Nintendo stuff and Sony stuff. Like he seems to. Maybe he's lying. It's very possible.
Could be a front.
My favorite thing ever was when Hideo Kojima like had a big old crush on Jade Raymond after she showcased Assassin's Creed, because like his developers told him that they couldn't do big crowds like Assassin's Creed did, and like literally 3 months later, after his devs told him that, Jade Raymond shows off a very impressive first Assassin's Creed at E3. And to me, in my mind, my headcanons, Kojima looked at everyone and goes, "You're all fired."
Yeah.
But like, if you ever see him like looking at her and stuff like that, like he's got stars and like he's such a huge fan of like what she and her team was able to accomplish with that game.
Yeah,
and
I like your I like your version of it, by the way.
Yeah,
I like your version
thank you.
of it.
He fed them all to Metal Gear.
Yeah.
You know, I forgot to put this in our now playing and watching because there were so many other games, and I've also been playing this game for so freaking long. But it's in my background. I got to mention it before we go.
Yeah.
Valheim put out their next content update. Right now, they're saying, you know, they're not the devs, but those who are close and really follow it, about 2 years probably till the game hits 1.0 because of how they had to extend so much. Could be less, but probably 2 years. So anyway, they put out a new update. So the mountains biome, which although it is kind of scary and overwhelming at first, which is kind of the excitement of that game, it's also pretty bland. There's only a handful of things to really do in that biome. There's not a lot. They added these new dungeons called these frost caves. And so it's got a couple new enemies, a whole bunch of new stuff to loot there. And you can see in the background here a little bit, the design of it's just very, very cool.
Yeah, that looks like almost something that you made. Like
it is really neat the way they designed it. And it was going to be, they originally had a roadmap and they had something called the Cult of the Wolf, and that's what this is. So their vision for that just kind of became these. And so it's got all these like wall markings, and it's kind of werewolf and wolf centric. It's very cool. Very cool. So, and some new armor, which when you get the whole armor suit, you put on the hood, your face disappears. You just have these two blue glowing eyes. I'm like, dude, this is pretty great. So
I like the sound of that.
I really dig it.
The controller compatibility update.
Yeah, so they actually did a lot of quality of life stuff with this patch as well, which includes full controller support, and they actually have the mapping there when you hit pause and you can see, you know, all the buttons, and it actually works really well. Some of it's a little weird.
I'm so curious to try that out.
But it works really well. I think I still prefer inventory and building with mouse and keyboard.
I get that. That makes sense.
But things like just walking around, riding in your boat, or fighting they're actually like doable and much better with the controller now.
And I already thought that they were pretty solid. Like,
and they weren't bad. Yeah, they weren't bad, but they're even better now. They did a good job. And also, speaking of pausing, the game kind of operated like a Souls game or an MMO, where if you hit pause, the game could still happen. Like you can't literally pause the game. Now you can, if you're playing single player, it'll pause. If you are on a server with anybody else, even if you're hosting it, I think. If you're with anybody else, you can't pause for everybody. Obviously, that's weird. But as long as you're playing solo, you can pause, which is great.
Cool.
And a couple other quality of life things here and there too. Oh, for one example, real quick before I go, is they've added these little red arrows when you're building something and you're flipping it around. You're not sure which way it's facing. It actually has little arrows to show you.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Little things like that.
Quality of life.
Listen, I freaking love this game. It's one of those games where I'm like, look at all these other games I have to play. I'll just play some more Valheim.
Well, that's what I mean. It's like I want
my brother. More
I want us to like do, start playing again, but it's also like, but then there's all these other games, and it's like, like I don't know, man. But I freaking love that game. That game is so good.
It is great, and apparently, the early reports that it runs as well as you would expect on Steam Deck, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
So, and the controller support went a long way there. All right. Well, that does it for us for this week. Unless I don't think I forgot anything. I think we're good, and. Yeah, hopefully next week we'll get Derek to jump in, because at some point, and thank you, Kyle, especially, and Dan, for you two carrying the Elden Ring banner. So people who thought we were hating on it too much last time around, we don't hate that game by any stretch.
It has large katanas in it, or a large katana.
It's very awesome.
So it's nice to have. It's nice to have.
The more gameplay, I think I've honestly, like I said last week, I've watched more gameplay than I've played it. It's just the more I see of it, the more I'm like, this game is really awesome. It's just. Yeah. I am way too impatient for it. Even with The option of multiplayer. I'm just so freaking impatient with this game.
I hear you, dude. You should just, if you ever fire it back up, just get on your horse and ride around killing really weak enemies. That alone is worth like, all right, let me just do that.
I think it's worth like seeing some of the topography in the world and stuff like that. Just I think it's incredible open world design. Like I think it's like one of the better like layouts for a world that I feel like I've seen in a long time. Because I do want to go everywhere, Whereas like sometimes I'm just like, and Horizon does a good job of that too, where it's like the further west you go, the further like weird everything feels. So like I feel like that's going to continue all the way into the end of the game, like especially with some of the screenshots I've seen that people are sharing in the group. I'm just like, so things just kind of keep on getting weirder, and it's like
more machines.
So we're really spoiled for like really nice designed open worlds right now, and I'm all the way here for it, guys.
Yeah, Elden Ring is shockingly huge too. The map, like it's very large.
Every time I get a new map shard, I always think it's the edge of the map, and then it like expands a little. I'm like, oh my god!
Yeah,
like,
it just keeps going further up, right?
It just keeps going.
It keeps going. So honestly, I think that kind of balances out with the visuals because people were like, "Why does it look like shit?" And it's like, well, it doesn't. It's an open world game. It's very large. There's a lot of stuff going on. It doesn't load.
Like shit at all either.
It doesn't load. Like you basically go into a cave and you take an elevator down for like 30 seconds, and it's like, and then you're just like in this like, all these sort of like all these tunnels and everything. It's insane. So it's a massive game. Yeah.
Oh, and I did run into my first mammoth war elephant that you've seen all the trailers for Horizon. Pretty awesome.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
Yeah, pretty awesome. So I think. Jeff,
wait, so have you taken down a elephant thing? Yeah. Is that what you just said?
On the beach, right? From the trailers, was that the?
That's not where it happened.
No,
I'm sure that.
But I'm saying that's the one you were fighting, right?
No, it was a different.
No. Oh, okay.
I don't think so. Yeah, it was definitely God,
I thought she was fighting.
It was connected with the story moment that Jeff's talking about.
Yeah,
really
it
dope.
was. Yeah, but you had to go you have to go fetch an item, and the item is on that elephant thing. So
yeah, okay. But it is still that battle is still pretty cool. There are times when I've been playing it for a while and I feel like I get in a groove, I do have panic moments where I'm like, I don't know how to fight this thing. What weapon? Like I have.
I picked up a frost. In the climbing side mission, you fight like a frost, whatever.
It's a big grizzly bear looking thing.
Exactly. And that was my first time encountering one of those too, and I'm like, oh my god, it's just
from Frozen Wilds actually, yeah.
Yeah, it's in Frozen Wilds.
Yeah. So it's like every time I feel like I'm like, okay, I got a handle on these machines and where the weak spots are, and freaking new one comes at me.
Yeah.
And it's huge.
There's a lot of them.
And it's like, by the way, it's immune to all your new awesome weapons. Great. Good luck.
Just keep using your exploding spear, guys. It's no fail.
All right. Well, thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for being here. Have a great week. We'll see you.